this could very much be a mistake. Maybe possibly a big mistake. Oh. I can feel it moving into my lungs, so when I speak, it's just not great, but hey, we're gonna be fine. Maybe no one will show up because it's just, yep, you know, we're ill, not the most pleasant to be around, makes sense. Every time I swallow, it hurts so much, but we'll just have to speak without swallowing. And then I gotta get in here, and people are gonna be like, hey, why are you streaming? Try to get better. And I'm like, listen, man, it's an addiction. No, I don't think it's an addiction. I think it's just, I'll kill it if I start real falling apart. But, yes. Oh, pause this. Take that as a note. Not too great. No, not too great. Better, though. I will say somewhat better. Hello, gang. How are you? My fucking nose. I hate it so much. When I speak or breathe, it's like the tiniest. It's like I don't have any snot in my nose, but it's just like when I'm speaking, some random like spit or something just whop, it smacks me at the back of my nose, so I can't actually like breathe. It's like it's not stuffed, but then there's like this little tiny bleh, it's like a tarp, and then it just gets hit against like your windpipe, and you're like, yeah, there we go. I can finally speak normally without it sounding like I'm bugging my nose. But yes, TLDR gang, your boy's still suffering a little bit. Good news is though, I broke through my fever, which dude, Iron Man, that's the worst of it to me. The fever thing is always going to be the absolute worst of it. Like, I hate the feeling of, like, your body just being insanely hot and cold. And, like, it always affects my head in a weird way. Like, it makes me feel dumb. Man, my nose. Yeah. But we're going to do our daily grind for this game and see if we're going to be okay. And maybe we're not, but that's okay. I like to blow my nose a lot. It'd be a bad stream. Some would say you should just not stream. That way you have people have a clear positive reference for you next time you stream and not negative reference. But hey, this damn tissue box is stopping my microphone from going down a little bit. How's the day, Nog? How are you, my dude? Hopefully the day's been lovely. Good. The fever broke it. Yeah, it's true. But that's the bad thing though. It is migrated down to my lungs. So I feel like now, you know how I was saying yesterday how it kind of hurt when I swallow? Now it like it sears pain. And I feel it starting to get into my lungs a little bit. Like I can feel like it's like, oh, your body has fended off the virus largely, but now it has definitely infected your lungs and your whole throat. So good luck, and it's going to be bad probably for the next couple of days. That's why I was like, probably a good idea for me to stream now, because I feel like tomorrow I'm going to be coughing a ton, because I could feel it like it's not getting better in the throat department. As someone with a chronic cough, I feel, no, I was about to say, no. I said, Alright, it happened a lot in the stream. It's like it fucking goes to the back of it goes to my nose and into my mouth, and I can't. Anyways, what I was going to say is, for people who are, like, chronically sick all the time, man, I can't even imagine. I like to think, in most cases, like, if you have a shitty job or something like that, if you can survive 2 weeks of it, you tend to get into, like, the mindset of, like, okay, it's just the same old shit that I can deal with. But I don't know, people who are chronically sick all the time get that. I don't know if it ever gets, like, much easier. Like, if you're always ill, that's man, I can't even imagine that level of shit. That'd be terrible. Also, what are we doing? We're trying to level up our girl Piper. And we're doing a kind of a bad job. We got our weapon up a little bit. It's okay. Our weapons are pretty shitty. I don't know if we need to do this. Yeah, I think it's money. Money is the thing that I'm just still crippled by. And it's annoying as hell.
11,234 said, Grimothy, how goes it?
Not great, cat. Still feel like shit. It's outside. I broke through my fever, which is a win, but now it's all in my chest, and it feels like my chest is just really dry and cold a little bit. And it's like I'm like on the precipice of coughing, but I have enough like weird body control that I can stop myself from coughing, which I don't know if it's a good thing. I feel like coughing is a response, just as sneezing is, to get some shit out of your lungs or whatever, your system. But yeah, let's do this. We're gonna go and talk to this. We get our coffee at no, wrong place. This is the I mean, I guess this works too. I guess we can just do this now. But yeah, boom, cool coffee bot. Have you guys seen the fucking weird robot people from Tesla and shit? Hot damn, man. That's that shit wild. I can't even believe that. People are saying that it's not real though. Like it's clearly like the voices that they had were not real. I'm not sure if you guys are into this at all, but yeah, Tesla had like a whole big stock thing that showed off a weird car, like a bunch of taxi shit. But then they also had their like robot run around doing shit. But people were like, KBHD was saying that it's like it's fake, like it's a person who's over comms talking. But I also seen some people say that like SpaceX developed some sort of weird like neural engine, like a mega quantum computing or whatever weird shit in some town, and the townspeople are pissed because they're not getting any work because they're just flying people in or some weird shit. Anyways, I'm not sure the whole story. It's not a very good representation of whatever the hell that was. That whole like news article I read. But the point is, that it's kind of like a debate of like whether the AI robots were talking or they're not, you know. And a part of it wants to believe like it's legit, because again, like the biggest thing that makes a lot of the communication I think with AI feel like really odd is that there's like a noticeable delay, and supposedly the robot or the AI of what do you call it, goddamn it's like whatever, it's Bard or whatever the hell, not Bard, whatever the hell the tech X's weird AI thing is, it's like delay of like you asking a question, you getting a response is absurdly fast. Or at least it was in the robot. But again, it could also be nonsense. It could also be like, that's just a lie, you know, which maybe it is. But I do think that'd be like, that's one of the biggest compliments. If people suspect I mean, that's literally the Turing test. Holy shit, I didn't even think about that. It's literally the Turing test to some extent, where like, if people at your event were like, this totally is like weirdos and like speaking into a mic and like pretending to be AI or something like that. And like controlling them to like dance around and shit. But actually it's just the AI itself like doing all that, but yet it was able to convince you in a weird way about it being AI. That'd be wild. That'd be one hell of a flex. You need some BAM? What's BAM? What's BAM? Bomb? Like, what's that? I forgot what it's called, but it really is like a minty ball that makes your nose hurt. I don't want that. I don't want that. I do have this weird cough medicine thing that numbs the shit out of your throat. Don't think about that too much, but damn. It is, yes, tough. I don't want to have it yet because I'm not sure I'll be able to speak with it in my mouth. I feel like I'm just like talking like this. Actually, funnily enough, I don't think my vocals changed that much, actually. I forgot what it's called, but it's like that minty thing. Cass says the robots are also controlled by yeah, but okay, well, that's it. I'm not sure if it's true. So there's one camp. One camp is like, is KBHD correct in the sense that he's like, engineers were on site, they were controlling the robots, and they were like clearly speaking through you. Yeah, possible. But it's also kind of hilarious to think, what if also they weren't being controlled, and it's just like AI's gotten to that point where it's kind of like a solid ass Turing test where like people are like, yeah. And honestly, it's funny because I mean there's like a notorious thing with Google where they had like an AI assistant like phone in and book like a hair appointment, and so long as you're able to get like a voice sounding good enough and then also add the weird bullshit that like other people do, which is like let me think about it, like the weird shit that how people speak is like not just like, I would like to book an appointment for this specific time zone. Thank you so much. Like, it's just perfect, opposed to like, yeah, that should work. Like, all those weird things are what make people like believe that you're who you are, or human, I guess. But yeah. Ooh, what's good, Red? Red, sorry. Nong says, I did with my cough. Anyways, first 3 months I was tearing up my diaphragm after I died a few times in the ambulance and shit. Damn, nah, what? Still have a cough, but it doesn't hurt my diaphragm. Damn, what, you got fucking died in an ambulance? What happened? You fought? What happened to you? You had to say, like, first 3 months I was tearing up my diaphragm after I died a few times in the ambulance? What the fuck? You can't leave me on that. You get hit by a car? Dang, what's good, Bothi? I'm starting to sweat. I knew I was going to happen. Oh, shit. So now I said my fever broke. It is broken. I don't feel like the symptoms of fever, but I still get sweaty. So I think it's still my body's like, we're fighting for our life. And I'm like, good job, body. Keep it up. I'm going to still complain that I feel gross and sweaty all the time. Thank you very much. Okay. Let us claim... we have to burn our resin first. We need money, but before we do that, we need to go throw our things forward. I think he means vapor rupture. Oh, is that like Vicks? Do you mean like Vicks? Or do you mean like the spray stuff that you like spray stuff in your mouth and it numbs your throat? Eesh. I don't want that. That seems like, I feel like, isn't that scary though? Like you numb yourself and you could theoretically be doing damage to yourself without being able to like moderate it. Eesh. Sounds not good. Is she pissed? No, she's happy still. I think you can like use their help too much and they start being like, excuse me, bitch, I've watched the store 7 times this week. Kill yourself. How about you don't make use of our friendship in such a way? And I'm like, fair. But I don't think she's at that point yet, which is good. I hope you get better. I'll try to get better soon, Red. I hope. Again, yeah, I'm not sure if we'll be streaming tomorrow because I don't feel like it's gonna get better. At least in the I feel like it's gonna probably. My mom has been sick as well, and she's like the future basically. When I look at her, she's also falling apart, and it's the same symptoms but like just delayed for me. So I'm like, all right, well here we go. I still think we need money, so let's go here. This. That shit is good stuff. Vicks? I've always hated Vicks. I've hated the fuck out of Vicks. I ain't about it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like the way when I breathe it in, it makes me feel. But Nog says, raptured my cordia. What is that? What is a cordia? No, carotid? Is that right? Carotid. That makes maybe okay. Jesus. So you just, I just don't know why. Like, what did you do to cause this to happen? What caused you to rupture your thing? What do you like? You fall off? You hit something? You like do weightlifting and you pulled something out of your body or something? A buddy says, yo, I've got a recommendation for you, Grin. What about a manhwa? SSA. What? Buddy, how fucking dare you? How dare you say such words? Bolty, that is my favorite manhwa, and it's not called SS rank Returner. Its authentic name is SS rank Suicide Hunter, and they had to rename it to Returner because you can't have suicide in the goddamn title. It's gonna tank the stats essentially. No, it's a different thing. Are you sure? I thought that was the thing. It's another one. I gotta check this. I don't believe you. I do believe you. That's why I'm checking. But I feel like there's doubt. There's doubt. Let me look. Google.
Bolty said enable Trump voice wrong.
Rank. Return. Oh no, I know what this one is. Yeah, this is the one Nub. Oh, sorry, I misread. I misread it. It's my bad. Yes, I'm sick. I can't get me right. Yeah, I've read this one. This is the one Nub always wants me to read, and I did read a lot of it. I read all the way up to like chapter. This is the one where like dude's scarred to shit. He basically gets betrayed by a bunch of the world. Oh wait, no, maybe that's different too. I'm thinking about a different one. This is a different one on a different one. Well, I know nothing. Oh, I have seen something similar to this. It does look like very edgy, and it does look funny though. How many chapters is it, Bolty? Because I might add this to the read next thing. I'm shocked. I usually am pretty locked the fuck in, and I've read most of these. I'm trying to think. Oh, I think I started reading this one, and I stopped. I don't know why I stopped. Huh. Oh, I think that's why. I think it's because it's a video game. It's basically like a video game, like a person's returned. And as much as I love the video game thing, and like, you know, yeah, it also makes. I've talked to you guys about it before, but like whenever there's a popular MMO and you go in and you grind it. It's cool. It's just less cool to me because there's no stakes. Because it's like, okay, you're in a video game. You could just not play the video game and you'd not fucking die. And then Sword Art's like, well, what if I force you? And you're like, okay. And then they go back in 10 times to make more seasons. Sure, it's weird. Anyways, oh, swallow hurts. Yes. I've already told you. I watched SS Rank 2. I know. I thought it was the same thing because I did think recently they changed the anime, or they changed the name of it. So I know they gave it some sort of returner. That's why I thought. But no, it's also not the one I thought the second time. It's a different thing entirely. Yeah. Is there not a lot of chapters for it? Oh fuck yeah, 127 chapters. Okay, maybe I gotta watch it then. Damn. Is it what I'm saying it is, Bulty? Where it is basically like you playing like a VR weird game? It's not VR, but it's like virtual reality. You go into a video game system. I imagine the guy regresses and then starts like taking everyone's shit. It's like also a very popular format. There's one that's like beloved in the manhwa community, which is like about a dude who's called Stagnant Water. And he basically it's the same premise, but like, oh, if I go back in time, I'll be able to like gamify this game, keep it alive, and also benefit wholeheartedly from playing it, which is cool. That one's fun. It's just, I don't know, again, I struggle with the caring part of it, because it's like, oh, you're playing a video game, you can just leave, or it doesn't matter, because if you die, you'll just log the fuck out. Like, it's the kind of, yeah. Whereas, like, if you get isekai into the world you're playing, then at least that, it's like, oh shit, you still die. Like, you die there, you're fucking dead. You know, it's like, there's obvious stakes. My only worry for you is that, yeah, is that you don't have enough energy to pop off. Boom. Boom. Nog says, cough was really bad. They gave me some super cough med shit. The skyrocketed my blood sugar. Turned it into a super thick acid, more less. And with my cough, it decided to make the artery pop. Damn! Shit, man, medicine sometimes is just the nightmare. It's like, we have a solution, but it will make it much worse. But it will alleviate possibly the pain. It also could do nothing. Fun. Good time. I really wish you could like fight harder monsters to like get more money, because it is kind of annoying where like these things die in 2 seconds and I don't think you get more money from anything. Yeah. Kill. Oh, damn you. Spin.
I'll make it painless.
Boom. And I binged it, and I never felt bored. Nice. He is really not forced to play the game, but he obviously has a sworn enemy. The best thing is that he's a berserker main, and the art style is absolutely godlike. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I might have to watch it. I was wondering what the next one I was going to watch was. I actually watched one which is very enjoyable. It's not very hype. It's kind of just like a nice story. And it's also the archetype that I like the most, which is like, it sounds weird, but it's like I read this story, or I fell asleep reading this story, and now I'm in the world, but I know where all the plot points are, so I can actually go back and like adjust things. I know how characters are emotionally. I know what characters like a fucking evil bitch and we should never approach. I like that like format. It's like just enough. It's like just enough of like plot armor to be reasonable, because otherwise plot armor is very evident and it's very annoying. At least that story, oftentimes it like shows like plot armor only exists if you're able to outthink what do you call it, the like the world that you're inhabiting, that you happen to know a few key factors for, you know. Ow. Swallowing hurts. This.
Touch me too.
All right. What are we looking like? We got this. We're a couple off. What else do I need to level up for you? I think it's honestly like, yeah, I think it's probably, what is the most meaningful gain I could give you? It could be, no, that's already pretty high. That's okay. Does this also give you days by chance? Nothing? I think it had a little bit there. 150 days, but it's not terrible. Oh, my throat. Yeah, I'm wondering, is it better to get artifacts that are not shit, or other things? Yeah, I think it's, we could also buff up our Ellen, who honestly probably doesn't need any more help because she's pretty fine. But yes, it's the only thing I can think of to spend the last bits of our resin on. Never mind, we don't really have much more resin, so I guess we're kind of boned.
Touch my tip.
Nothing else I can level up then? We're just stuck? I guess there's that. What does it say to level up? Suggestion. It's that and then that. Yeah, I was about to say nothing much else. Does this contribute in any way to like her E skill scaling? Probably not, right? Her alt definitely not used. So yeah, it's the only thing is this. We're fine. Ooh. What's good, Light? Sorry to say hi sooner, buddy. Hi, how are you? Thank you for putting out with me. Also, by the way, if I do look sweaty or if I pit stains, I am soaked in sweat. Like, yeah. I don't have the fever anymore, but I do notice in my body every now and again. It's just like, hey, by the way, buddy, here's just a whole ass jug of sweat all over your body. Have fun. I'm like, this is great. I love sitting in my own sweat, just soaked. Love that. It's great.
Let's take a break.
Let us go and do... Honestly, we might have done most of it. I might have to switch over to the other game. The other one. Possibly. Because I think we did most of the shit. We could do an event, but that sounds cringe. I don't want to... It sounds not great. I don't know. It's not negative. I just... We got 16 days to do this. Hopefully it's not time negated or limited. Did I not claim this today? I didn't. Jesus. We have that, which I don't think is a daily capped or something. That's done. We finished that. That's fine. Jesus Christ. That's new. I actually don't even know what that one is. Hopefully it's not timed. Ooh. That's fine. That's fine.
Volty said, I read in very weird Hidata Isekai manga though GRINN. I don't know what came over me then, but it's really weird.
What is it? Hit me with it, but try to keep it somewhat PG. Hanada, well, we can't say on YouTube, please. Funny at times and borderline crazy detail at their tone. Ooh, okay. But he says, but again, but I gotta say, I have 10 chapters left for Berserk of Gluttony, but I really did enjoy reading it that much. Yeah, you have to tell me if it has a somber end, because I'm very curious to see how that ends. Because yes, it is a little sketchy. Where I'm like, if it has a negative ending, I'm out. You know what I mean? But if not, I'll put it on the list still. Nong says, don't give a diabetic codeine, at least me. My sugar was above 140. Oh, shit. Then the ambulance picked me up. Normally, average blood sugar is between 80 to 160. Yeah, man. Shit. 100 fucking Christ, man. 1,400. Also, that's terrible because I think the higher you are, the more it taxes your body. So, like, being low is terrible, at least for my mom, because she can, like, fucking pass out and shit, which is terrifying. If I can see your unconscious parent on the floor, Jesus Christ. But if you're too high, then you're causing like damage, and if I think it's to your like one of your organs, it's you guys like life damage essentially. So it being that high, hopefully we're that high for that long, because shit. Oh, my stomach. Coffee's not good. It's so not good. Why is there so much shit in the way of me putting down my mug? Alright, we're done. Let's switch over to the other pretty game. Ooh. I don't know why I'm so squinty. Man, when you have a lot of phlegm in your mouth and shit, and you just drink coffee, and then it just stains that phlegm with that nasty ass.
Catman 11,234 said, I come to these streams to hear your hatred of coffee.
Listen, coffee is the best. It's not my fault that coffee hates me, okay? And then if I put cream in it, then my fucking... I don't know what I am, dude. I think I just have a weird digestive system where it just does not approve of some things. I want to say that I'm, what's the fucking called?
Light said, I hope it helped with you trying to see if it's time dated.
It's time dated? What's that? I hope that, what did he say? Look next to the, yeah, no, they had a little time data thing. The only thing is that get light, at least in the Withering Waves, they got me, them fucking bastards. What do you call it? They got me with the last thing in Withering Waves. There was like an event. They were like, you have 30 days to do this. And then it turned out like it was one of those things where I was like, this event requires you to participate daily because you have an energy bar built into the event. So if you don't show up, then you're getting boned. It's not good. It was not great. Also, Shorekeeper, fire, by the way. Very fun character to play as. Happy that we got her. All that. I do play this game muted, which maybe I should put on some sound so it's not just completely silent. Unless, is it fucking silent again? Please tell me you guys to hear at least the background music a little bit. You good? Okay, good. Fine. Fine. This. Bodhi says, I read a very Haruka anime, Grin, I just don't know what came over me, but it really is weird. What is it? What is the really weird Haruka anime? Alright?
Make it fast.
I read one that I really enjoyed, but it wasn't Haruka. It was just kind of like really down bad, you know what I mean? It didn't quite ever...
Balti said parallel paradise. Basically only dude in a world of only woman. You can figure out the rest.
Yeah, tell me more than that.
Make it fast.
It's a plot where women disappear when they don't mate. The isekai world is pretty depth and deadly too. Was cause it got lost in the sauce some chapters. Gross, fucking gross sentence. I think. Let me see about this. That sounds not familiar at all. Does not sound familiar in the slightest. That's why I would want to Google it, because it doesn't sound familiar at all. What is this about? Let me tell you. Unless it's really bad, like really down bad, I've seen a recap about it, because YouTube people go crazy and they show like a whole ass, they just blur out everything and they cut out all of the giblets and yeah.
Balti said stop.
No, we're not gonna stop, but I would prefer to see what the heck this is all about. Truth be told, it does not look actually familiar, but it sounded familiar. It also could be that, yeah, it's not trying to show me all the risque stuff.
Gnawing Fetus said it's hentai grin.
No, I know that. I'm aware. I'm just trying to see if, sometimes Haruka is not very Haruka, you know? It's like, it's just really risque. I don't know. It doesn't look that familiar. I was gonna say, I've seen one that I thought was similar to it, but again, that's why I was curious, is because I think the people who make the fucking anime videos will just cut out all of the Haruka and be done. But I found the one that I thought was awesome. And it's one that I can never like really suggest to people, but because it gets real crazy. Like it says stuff that you shouldn't say. Yeah, but. It is very crazy. Again, I told you guys the premise of basically where, like, it's basically if you were to take, you know, the trope of, like, a fantasy world where like, a noble knight has a daughter who he trains to be a knight, and she kind of ends up being kind of masculine and badass, and when everyone's out there being a princess, she's out there being a fucking badass, diligent knight, being, like, more male and badass than all these other male badass knights, you know what I mean? So it's that exact trope, that exact premise, except inverse the world so that basically men are replaced by women, and then make the only dude who's the main protagonist, like, not a soft boy, essentially, where everyone else is kind of... So the whole premise is that basically the world's population is like, for every one dude, there's 10 women. So men are like a scarcity. So they kind of become like weird, what's it called? Like princess things, where it's like, oh, we just need to be careful for these like great beings. These are the things that we need to make children. They're so lovely, all that stuff. And like women fight wars because they're just the dominant majority of the populace. But anyways, the dude who gets isekai, just like a normal guy. So he's basically in this world filled with like badass, like warrior women and shit. And it's funny as hell seeing him like kind of parse through it.
Oh yeah, I watched that one. Had an anime.
I don't think it had an anime. Yeah, tell me if it had an anime, Bolty. I would totally watch that if it had anime. I don't think it does because it doesn't have very much things. It must be just a similar idea. Yeah, definitely don't think it is. No, yeah, never mind. Yeah, yeah, never mind. Says Bolty. But I was gonna say, yeah, it's very similar in the sense that probably to that whole weird trope. But anyways, the reason why I like it a lot is because they have so much fun with like inversing stuff. So like, there's a scene where like they're trying to replicate.
Catman 11,234 said, of course you watched that. Speaking of our topic of convo last night, haha.
Well, no, so this is the reason why I think it's fun, Cat. So, it's one of those, it's like an unfortunate thing, but like some people say, they like to throw around the idea of like, if a woman said that, she'd be in prison, you know, like, yeah, all that kind of stuff. And maybe there's trueness to that. Maybe you should like be at peace or like, yeah, be aware of how you say things and all that stuff. But it is also true that most dudes have a weird like you may not have an aversion to something. So like one of the examples they give in the book, which I think is hilarious, is they basically have it so that the dude is clearly like yada yada yada. Basically, he ends up having a good relationship with the two princesses that are basically like warlord knights. Like they're just commanders. They're great. The one's intelligent, like crazy. One's like a badass warrior. And he has a really good relationship with both of these princesses, but again, it's like a noble world inversed. So they're basically also playing the role of like the slimy, gross dude. You know how like in fantasy shows you'll see like, oh, the princess is getting like kind of assaulted in a weird way by like the prince who's full of himself and thinks he's perfect and all that shit. Well, they do the same thing except they inverse it in this anime where like this like badass redheaded knight who fucking looks crazy. She's built like insane. She's fantastic. Dude's like, hey, this is my friend that we ended up bonding in the battlefield because we ended up fighting together. All that stuff. But there's just one issue she has. And then it hard cuts to her just slapping the shit out of his ass and like grabbing a whole ass chunk of his of himself essentially. And she's like, when are you going to let me get you? Essentially. And it's one of the most like, I don't like that at all. But then they also have even more fun where they talk about like, there's so many fun throwaway lines in this stupid thing. Cause it constantly plays off of that. Where like one of them is they're trying to basically find a way for them to like marry this guy. Cause he's like, they kind of talk about it, but he's like the only badass knight in a world of like dudes who are like very feminine, very soft, very like silly, etc. Femboys, basically femboys, and he's like the one like tall as shit, wide back fucking guy, right? And funnily enough, the kingdom and the princesses had like a dad that was very similar, like a classic, Hugh Jackman body type rather. So what makes it even funnier is they have this one moment, which again, I think you could like easily say like if this was inversed and a dude was saying this, it'd be gross. But both the sisters are like trying to plan out a way for them to basically like get the guy to marry both of them essentially. And then they talk about like maybe we could even convince him to go down on us. And again, it's weird because if you go in the comments of like all of the manga chapters, it's always a bunch of dudes being like, "This is an absolute win." I mean, and also it has and people make a good point where like if you think about any of the instances that the author sets up, it's an instance where it's like it's a trope from like shitty, gross noble dude, like a gross noble prince is like maybe we can make her our bride and maybe we can she'll blow us or something like slimy and gross, right? But in this context, most dudes are like, hell yeah, this sounds awesome. You know what I mean? And it plays off of that time and time again. It's also funny because there are so many women in the world, the queen in this crazy, insane world, is like the dude goes to like see her because he's like the knight of the youngest princess who like needs to be protected and stuff. So he ends up going and seeing this the queen, and he's like, what the fuck is she doing? She's wearing like nothing. She's wearing like a see-through this is insane. Like, what is this? What's wrong with people in this world? And again, if you think about it, it's not completely devoid of logic of like if you had 90% women everywhere, and like again, it's basically like every dude is in the position of every woman. So it's most dudes will be on the beach with like their shirt off and thinking nothing of it. So it's again, it plays off of all those weird tropes. Again, the only thing that's shitty is they only had like I think like 20 chapters, and then the author like I think slowed down because he started to lose like how do I keep having fun with this? Because every chapter was like very clever, like in the fact that it used certain tropes against the reader essentially, which is fun. But it also had a lot of like down bad art. So like if you see Haruda art, it's very similar to Haruda art without the climax of Haruda, I guess. Yeah. Let me see.
Bolty said, I think I want to restructure my isekai idea a bit around the manhwa isekai ability system and have a non-cringe background story of the Mick and scale things up a bit.
Ooh, hit me with a what you doing. Give me the details. That sounds fun. I like the idea of... Well, it's tough, man, because, like, the border between cringe and awesome is very fucking fine, I find. You know what I mean? I think a lot of it's also in your ability to create a picture in someone's mind. You know what I mean? Ooh. I do think edgy is really synonymous with, like, this is too much. You know? Like, the traumatic backstory, I think, is a little played. Like, I remember when Afrietta came out, and everyone was like, and I watched a fucking anime short like a couple nights ago, which popped up in my feed, which was like the weird like the dialogue that the main character has, where he gets like trapped at the end, like in the dungeon, and he just sounds so edgy. He's basically like, whomever's in front of me, I'll kill. Whoever's in my way, I'll destroy. And it's just like, ew. It's just hard to sell. Like dark, ominous past, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck you have to be so upset about, you know what I mean? I feel like it's much better to have like a story where like a dude is like happy by nature, very happy-go-lucky, then is like given like a point of despair, and then kind of like breaks, does some horrible shit, and then like snaps back to being happy again. So you can see it's almost like a defense mechanism. At least that I think would be a little more interesting for people. So you realize, oh, it's not that he's not affected by anything, it's just that he's so affected that yeah. Episode 4 is the most Haruda I've ever seen in non-Haruda. What is that? Shimane? What is that? What is that? Let me pause. Make sure it's on Facecam so I don't fucking destroy our whole channel. Also, this is now in my search, so now people are gonna pop in and be like, "What are you watching, Grin?" And I'm like, "Who fucking get away from me? What? Narc on me, you bastard! Rude as hell." I don't know if I typed it in right. Oh, that one. It was not that bad. That one gets pretty close to The Wire. As a person who's watched anime for far too long, this is one of the ones that's fun. I wish this one had a season 2. It's very, it's definitely like the point of the show is to be gratuitous. It's not to be in anything besides that. What was the anime that I thought I seen that what's always weirded me out? I always just didn't get it. Was the anime that's it's like a weird sorry, it's like a very strange, hey, it's been like 20 minutes and let's just show bare breast in like a hot spring for no reason, just so that we can only show this to people who are like 18 plus or some shit, like have to put like an adult rating on it. I'm like, this was entirely not worth the 18 plus rating of you having an awkward like nipple essentially in the shower scene. Like, what the hell? It's just weird. It's very odd. I'm not even talking about blurred. I'm just talking about like, it's like, why is this here? It just makes no sense. It doesn't add much at all. Reminds me of Gargarin from Overlord. Who's that again?
Catman 11234 said I had mentioned episode 4 of Shimonetta because of the surprise struggle snuggle, reminiscent of Goblin Slayer.
Surprise snuggle. What's that? Some like R-word nonsense? I don't remember that. All I remember is the scene that's vivid in my mind to this day, where she fucking hoists him by his legs backwards, and then her teeth get to a zipper, we'll say. Where would the zipper be? Who knows? She fucking breaks the zipper off, and then she walks away after some things happen. It might be a real down bad anime now that I'm starting to explain it. Now that I say it, even though it doesn't show much, it definitely does too much. Yes. Anyways, she leaves him slightly humid, moist. Anyways, and as she walks away, she spits out the fucking zipper like an animal. And you're like, Jesus Christ. It's also such a funny, again, it definitely plays off of the trope in the same way that, like, what if there was a girl who was, like, really into you, also had, like, the strength of 18 gorillas, and you were basically made null and void by whatever she desired. You're like, and some people are like, hell yeah, and then other people are like, I'm terrified. That is horrifying. Thank you very much. Dude, I don't mean to be like a little baby, but I've had a rough week. I told you guys about how I had this, like, crazy fucking irritating as shit ingrown hair thing on my fucking thigh. It's just the worst. And now I'm sick. It's just like, stop, please. What do I need? I'm trying to prep for this character. So I'm trying to define what we need. We need this. Good. So you have 65 of that. We good. We need a lot of these crystals, so I need to farm that. Yeah, and then we're actually kind of good. Oh, no, that's what I need. That's what I need. Gotcha. I know what to do, dog. We're going to go over here. We're going to go... Nope. God damn it. What is it? This? Switch maps. Go to this guy. There we go. Nope. Am I good? There. Oh, swallow hurts. What is good, Raid? How has your week been, buddy? Alright, on top of the anime thing Boti's talking about, maybe I will ditch the amnesia idea, but make it an urge to survive rather than an automatic process. And if I'm gonna implement the gluttony ability, MC gotta impersonate the trait purposely at the same time. Damn, that's hella complicated. You going wild. That sounds great though. That sounds very interesting stuff to play off of. Although I think that is a part of it, Bolty. Like, I hate to make it. I'm sorry. I should just listen. I'm being a dickhead not listening well. I read a book about how to listen well like a long time ago, and I need to reread it because I always talk about me because I'm like, this makes me think about something I'm going through. But anyways, despite all that, here it is. I'm going through that same problem with my story, except I'd be careful on not throwing things away. Like, 'cause I like that idea that you told me a lot about the whole survival thing. But I find that the same thing of, like, for me, I really like the idea of, like, you know, your own, like, the weird leverage point that this main character has is, like, builds, and, like, him knowing, because I haven't seen very many stories that lean into the idea of, like, what happens if you notice something about a skill that is manipulatable or scalable, and instead of being super into, like, he gets this overpowered ability, and then he gets this overpowered ability, and he gets this overpowered ability. I really like the idea of, like, oh, why didn't he pick the S rank ability or some shit? Why didn't he get this crazy overpowered skill? He chose this one instead. Well, it's because it's infinitely more scalable, or it has something that like could possibly lead you to something that you could manipulate, which I like that idea. But the issue I have is I really like the idea of the main character eventually having 2 skill trees, and it sucks because I have another story in my head, which I really like, which is like the, I told you guys about it, but it's like the Yondo's dart. Like, I like the idea of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the weird dad, Yondo, his dart, like, flying around, and I would love that for being, like, a mutated version of Magic Archer, essentially. Like, I would love that to be its own build. Like, if somebody took Magic Archer and said, like, I'm gonna fuck with this and make it my own, and that was the outcome of just, like, this dart that's just ravaging everything. And then for that, to me, at least, and again, some people pointed out that didn't make the most sense, but to me, a summoner, like a person who summons skeletons, that makes all the sense in the world that would perfectly optimize yourself, because you could stay far back whilst also having, like, people to guard you, whilst also having a few skeletons going out and, like, fighting shit. So to me, I just like the idea of how that, like, it'd be like the ultimate strategist's tool set, and especially if you were trying to, like, set up like a strategist would. So I like that idea a lot. But then I try to think about, like, what the hell would be this, because that's its own story thing that I have. Like, I want to one day tell that story. I think it'd be fun to mess around with those 2 variables. Especially with, like, summoners. I think summoners are often done pretty shittily. And they don't actually dig into what makes summoners, I think, really fun and cool and all that stuff. Anyways, but the one story I have with the whole, like, making a build and, like, person, like, unraveling that build and it being fun, I find that to be that to be difficult to find out what the other skill tree would be. Like, what's a good antidote to that? I got him. He's naturally has like grenadier, whatever the hell I said. But I don't know what the hell I could pair with it to make it like something good. There's like examples I think you guys gave me, which I appreciated, which was like not alchemist, but like potion. Someone who makes potions and shit. I think that's fun. I just don't know if it's fun enough, you know. I'm not sure if it's something that, like, at least in my head, I haven't found like a spark of inspiration of like, oh, that could be leveraged in a big way in this way, you know. It's a little bit annoying. Ooh, swallowing hurts. Let me kill this thing before I read chat. Forgive me.
Leave it to me. In war with time.
Boom, boom, boom.
Together we
Oh, I wanted to. Okay, it's fine.
bird now.
This.
Mind's eye.
Oh, I fucked up, gang. He still wasn't alive. He wasn't out.
Triumph.
I thought he was done. He was not. How lame. Also, I didn't activate that. I'm bad.
My blade.
I got your back.
Damn it! I was hoping to get that before he transformed.
Victory, guide my blade. How reliable.
Luckily, we have a ranged character that can fight shit, which is cool. Bang. Good stuff. Yes. What was said? Let's confirm that and run away. We need, I think, like 40 of these things, so it's probably where my resin's gonna go for the next couple weeks. Your word nonsense. I didn't expect at all. The show was so light-hearted prior. Yeah. What do you call it? I thought it was definitely a fun, silly show.
Make it fast.
Raid says, hi, GRINN. What's good, Raid? I read that, I think. Not much. Just woke up from a nap. Not too much. You always, man, fucking Raid always says like 5 p.m. I guess it's a nap, so who knows? All right. I'm gonna take this this throat-numbing haul, or whatever it is. It's called Rokel. I don't know what I'm gonna put in my mouth. And hopefully it numbs my throat. Not much. Okay, Bully says, I mean personally, why is he's gonna, personality wise, he's gonna show that he has gluttonous, that he is gluttonous, okay, and his abilities will have to be remade entirely. Building can be tough. Building can be tough. What do you mean? But one thing I realized is that not only skills matter, especially in manhwa style isekai. What you mean? Skills? Not only skills? What do you mean? I think it's whatever how you're God. If you want them to matter, you can have them matter. If you don't, you don't. So what's good, Spammer? It says brewer. What does brewer mean? What does that mean? Also, hi. Hello, Spammer. Kat says, I wish Ainz got more into the summoning shit. The anime gloss over it a bit too. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's annoying. There's not like, again, it sucks when there is like, because there is so much manhwa or anime or manga that have to do with the summoner trope. Like, it's by far the most, hey, guess what? There's summoner shit. It's so much. But also, I would probably, thank you, Lo. Oh, you were saying? But it's so like underdone. So like every skill tree ever, it's like summoner, but it's always shittily done. It's like a half-ass, like, I guess he summons a skeleton and that's it. Not realizing that like a summoner on his like most broken thing is that a summoner basically gives you access to every type of class, probably with a neutered degree, but still, like the fact that if you were a warrior, or if you were whatever, you could summon a warrior, whatever the hell you summon, skeleton, goblin, whatever the hell your proficiency is. That's really cool. That's a really like substantial idea. Like you, you're fighting someone who's great at melee, and then like a weird skeleton hand comes over your shoulder and like casts an absurd fireball or some shit and eviscerates your opponent. That's where you can have fun with it. But instead they're like, I guess like whatever, they're kind of convenient, and then they're super not. Then they die immediately, and then they're a waste just because we need to move the plot forward. So yeah, and it's like, equipment can be very fun to play off of. Yeah, no, for sure. I also like the idea. One of the things I want to tap into, Bolty, with my story a little bit, and I think you should do it too, is the. I really like the idea of like evolving skills, so like a skill that is gluttonous, like a skill that I don't know if it's like healing or something like that. Like that's what it is in the manga that I read or manhwa that I read. But it's basically like if you had a skill that was improves, I don't know, it was something like Sword Saint, like that was your skill or something like that, and you gave it like proficiency with axes. As soon as you would like apply that skill to your own skill tree or like your own like roster of talents that you're accruing, the Sword Saint would immediately devour that skill and like increase the sword proficiency by like a percentage. I really like that idea. Not sure, maybe you can't use it in your story, but I think that's fun. The idea of like taking something like a basic skill and evolving it to be even better, so you could have fun with like having a skill that's like stay alive for longer. You know, like maybe you're like it makes it so that you can stay in the red of like your lowest possible health pool for longer. And then you would like, put more points into that. You keep investing in that thing. And then eventually that thing turns into like, okay, so long as your heart or mind are still okay, you can't die. Like, so as long as your brain's not crushed and your heart's not stabbed, you're okay, essentially. And you're like, damn. Also, thank you, Lone. Just resub with a, what do you call it? Resub with a, I don't know, is that Twitch? It's Twitch. Twitch resub. Thank you so much, Lone. The God of Waifus has returned, and you've been subscribed for 52 months. Ha! What's good, Lone? We missed you, by the way. Late. Ha! And Lone says, I'm late. I'm so talking. It's okay. Bodhi says, I want to try developing an anime streaming website. What? Boy, that's like someone coming in here and being like, I want to build a car. That's like such an involved task. I want to try. I guess not, because you said you were pursuing shit like that. Like, yeah, so like web design and stuff, or not web design, sorry, but like coding of some kind. Try developing an anime website, a streaming website. Yeah, that'd be a great idea, man. I mean, yeah, I can't approve anything illegal per se, but I woke up early today for a call with my therapist, so I was catching up on sleep. That's fair. That's a good reason then. But he said, I'm gonna do it, and hopefully I'll show you it someday when it's completed.
Catman 11234 said one of my fave summoner tropes is the clone summoner. Especially being able to swap places with said clones like a teleport. Shout out Sun Wukong.
I like the idea a lot. It's tough. It's tough because I've seen that a little bit before. Like I like the idea of like what you just. I love the skill that you just mentioned of like how OP it could be, just like switching places with whatever. Like imagine if like the main character or like a person basically read through the skill tree and realized, holy shit, there's a skill that comes available like when I'm level 20 or something in summoning that lets me trade places with my summon, and it has like a really low cooldown. Awesome. Fantastic. But then when you're at the very like first start of your summoner's journey or whatever, your build, give me a sec. Boom. And then this. And then jump in the air and stab the shit out of him. Hurry up and die, man. Sorry. So yeah. So maybe you see that there's this there's like the ability to swap with your summons thing, and it's on like a really low cooldown, maybe like 10 seconds, and you're like, oh, that's pretty good. But then at the very start of the skill tree, you have to choose between what kind of path you want to take. So maybe you're able to unlock like skeletons first, just because it's kind of like a good jack of all trades. But maybe the next one you get is like a difference between like a giant fucking bear or a fairy. And if you know that, oh shit, there's that like what do you call it? And also if you've seen that like fairies was like really fast and agile, and then you know that's one of your skills like down the line, that it would just validate that like swapping thing so much. If you had two fairies on the field, just like ripping around, trying to get you to point A to point B, you make them. Maybe you grab other things that make them harder to kill. Like that to me, that's the fun of the story of it. Is a person who's able to perceive that advantage and then also like be willing to take the sacrifice of not being getting it, because it's like I've always liked the idea of somebody like taking a loss early on for much better long-term gain. Also, I think that fits to like a story in a way. I think a lot of people enjoy a story with like just the right amount of struggle at the beginning, so that it doesn't feel unearned, and then eventually like getting a power boost and then also normalizing it because you go to like a place that has a bunch of fucking powerful people. So you're like, oh, we're not as powerful as we thought because Jesus Christ amongst. It's kind of like the what's it called? Reincarnated Jobless. It's very similar to that, where like the main character is perpetually shown that at least like he perpetually thinks he's weak or nothing special because he's constantly surrounded with like the most incredible people on the planet, and then he ends up becoming like abnormal himself, which is a fun trope. Lone says, "What's good, my beautiful people? How are we doing? I'm doing pretty good, Lone. Better now that you're here, buddy. How was your day? What kept you from us?" What? I don't think I said that right, but you get the point. You know what I'm trying to say.
Loading. Rectify.
Take 4.
Get this going. We'll do. Oh, I fucked up. I forgot to expend my charge. I didn't know I had 2. Damn it. What a waste. And now we just chop. We chop.
My blade yearns.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Triumph.
Dodge that, bitch. Boom.
Crosscut. Sever.
Don't die. Oh, you died. God damn it. Hand claim. We're preparing for Camilla, even though she might not require this, but I think she will because she's a shore member, and I do have the leaked things, but it's the same as Rover. Well, it's not the same as Rover exactly. It's similar to Rover, which makes sense because she's supposed to kind of be, I think, like a better version of Rover. But yes. Nong says, check out the Lone Necromancer does fairly decent job with that. Yes, I think I've read that one. That was that one where he goes to like a school, and what do you call it? He like it's a necromancer school. His mom's like a priest, and his dad's like a fucking S tier rank necromancer, and he has like absurd talent. I love that one. That's one of the few examples that I can think of that has it. But also, I think that one plays into like that's the whole point of the entire story is to like slow down and to like find out how to make like really powerful creatures, etc. Like a very powerful necromancer. I also think it's tough because I do think necromancer is like it's such a nice package, whereas summoner it's much more like fuck. And it's tough, man, because one of the stories I would love to tell is the again, I don't know if you guys remember, but it's this old game called Overlord, and it's actually before like Overlord was a thing. This game was a thing. And it's basically like the same premise about like this giant fucking armored knight who looks like he's straight out of hell. Looks like Sauron, how do you say it? And he has just like a bunch of weird goblins that just like lay siege to everything. And it's such a fun idea, and that to me would be fun to mess around with. But it sucks because like the name you think of for that story is like Overlord, but Overlord's already taken my fucking irons. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really work at all. But but still. Cat says, now we just need a lone syndicate necromancer. Bolty says, yeah. Evolving skills is also mentioned in the anime. I got me interested. Sorry, I lost track of time. It's all good, Lone. I'm happy you're here, buddy. Honestly, probably best you miss the stream because I'm still sick of shit. So, yeah. I feel like I'm talking like most people or like girls who have a tongue piercing talk. I'm trying not to move my tongue too much because it's holding a candy. A numbing throat candy. Which, by the way, think about a product that's going to be misused more than this. I can't. This. And then this. And then this.
Leave it to me.
This.
Astral modulation.
Look at her go.
Loading.
And then this. And then this time we'll do this. That will give us enough energy, probably, to do this.
Be reduced to cinders.
And we'll do this. Oh, that was a critical hit, buddy. Oh, you got locked. up that time. Locked up. That wasn't the best word for the sentence, but I just want to show us. Fine. Take my excess energy. There. Lovely. Just
Lone
lovely.
Syndicate said, listen, I haven't missed a stream in the last 4 years, Grin. You think I'm a
And
start
you
now?
still have it.
Nah.
I used to have it. That's true. Or if you did, I didn't remember it. And not like I didn't remember you weren't there. I just remember you streamed so often that like for me to remember the exact stream that might have been, I wouldn't have been able to remember it anyway. We got that. We got that. We have some events that we could chip away at. Oh. Cats. The Naruto subjugation jutsu was always sick to me as a kid. What's subjugation jutsu? Like mind domination or some crazy shit? But he said, no. It's just be a prototype website. I will do it for myself to have something to show in my portfolio. Ooh, that's good. That's awesome. Okay. It's a great idea to get a portfolio going of like...
Catman 11,234 said substitution. To substitute is to change one for another.
Oh, okay, that's what it's going. Okay, I see. I would assume it's like a teleport or something like that, but I guess it does make sense. My day was great, Grin. Work went by fast. Fast, nice. Yeah, what I was gonna say, Bolty. Anyone who's in like the coder field kind of thing, not coder, but like anyone who works in that kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's hard for people to understand. Like I think if you told like a secretary or a person who works in HR, like how would you decide what a person is capable of or like what they do? And I think most people are like, oh, I work for this company, I work for that company. I think most people would be like, yeah, like, those sound like something, but I think if you were to actually just show like what you're capable of and then be like, oh, that's exactly what we're looking for, I think that'd be much better. My nose is doing the thing again. I hate it. It's like where it's like just the thinnest layer of like saliva something is blocking my like nose, and it kind of like blocks my windpipe. But yet my nose isn't stuffed. Like I can breathe. Also, Nong says the entire world gets isekai'd into a game like World. Everyone gets to pick a card class in the beginning event, and if they don't get turned into a monster mission and such. Let me see. What is it called? Is this the anime that you were telling me about? I thought it was similar to. Oh, I think I've seen this one too. Yeah, this one I watched when I was first getting into manhwa, and maybe I just wasn't like my mind wasn't ready for it. Like I was just kind of like, it's just too much. Let me see. The Lone Necromancer. I type better when I just fucking forget. I just do. Yeah, no, I've seen. Yeah, this is the one. This is what I seen like the beginner of. I didn't get it. When does it get to that like necromancy part? Because I got kind of past the first couple parts, but it always had these little skeleton fuckers that didn't really do much. It kind of did much. It did some. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, I was waiting for it to get to that point where it made me like, I don't know how to describe it, man. I was trying to think about that the other day. Like, I'm trying to think of what is it about these like cornerstone anime that to me I love, which are, I always forget what the names are. Let me see. I can pull it up right now. It's like one of them is like the bastard son of the notorious wizard clan, I think is what it's called. I love that one. I don't know what it is about that one that just hooks me, pulls me in, and just tells me like, this is gonna be awesome. Like you're gonna read the whole thing in like 2 days. Love that the manhwa. It's also beautiful, like it's beautifully drawn. Also the same thing about the what is it called, the blood of something hound, the one I suggested to Bolty. That one also like immediately pulls you in, like you can't look away kind of thing. Like there's these certain anime or manhwa that are just, that's what they're just like, you know. And I can't. It's hard to determine what that is. A part of me thinks it's like this subtle dance of like I don't know if it's like not tension, but like risk. Like you could clearly understand what they have to lose and what they have to gain. But it's not. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, to tell you the truth. I keep trying to think about it. Raid says, I'm still really excited for the stream marathon next month. We're gonna try to do our best. Now, don't bring it up right now because I'm so fucking sick. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. But hopefully I catch my stride by the time we get there. We don't get sick again. But I'm still trying to plan out that. I probably will go apeshit like the following week of us doing it. So like the last week of this month, it'll probably be when I'm like, okay. A lot of the streams probably that whole week are probably going to be like running up to like what the hell we're going to do. Like, hey, what are the games? We're going to probably put it to a vote about like what we're going to do for each week. And if we're going to do one for more than 1 week. Things like that. But is there anything we can do on the side just real quick and bang out? Also, you guys should do this. This is insane. This event, if you should try to jump in and do it, you have 5 days left, which is just enough time to get everything, I think, if you just really ran through it. But the reason why you want it is because it may not look very good, but they're giving you like 1 million, 1 million, 500,000, and they're giving you like 15 of this special currency. I can't think of what it is. This is like the max level resource for this, so definitely try to do these. It looks like it's not that good, but I think it's like they're giving us $2 million total plus like 15 of the max resources of that thing, which is crazy. We could spend some. No, let's not do that just yet, actually. I thought there was one event that we should probably just start like slowly breaking down. Gnong says the MC pretty much says fuck what the system wants. All these options are traps and does his own shit his own way, involving mass corp explosions, troll shock troops, ogre tanks, wyvern areas. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. Maybe I don't think I got to the point where he had like a, I forget what it was. It was some sort of thing where like he's fighting like this mob boss, and they're like vampires or something. And that's what it is. It's like the vampire arc at the very beginning. That's where I stopped. I got like a little bit into that, and then I stopped reading. So maybe I should continue. It was always when I kept in the bookmarks. Like I was always planning on going back and watching it, but now that you've said that, no, I desperately want to now. Grin, are you feeling better? My what is it called? What's the symptom when you're like hot and sweaty and cold, or like you feel like you're cold, but you're really like boiling hot? That broke, whatever that is. The fever. My fever broke. Jesus. So yeah, that's nice. The only issue is now that it like kind of moved on to my throat, so my throat feels much worse. But at least my fever broke, so at least that's nice. Cause holy shit. So I've got other random notes too. If you want to listen, hit me, Bolty. I just read Grin. That's why I said hit me, Grin, but I stopped. Challenge. Sure. What is this? Take me to that place. Sure. The Lone Necromancer. I didn't think it has an anime. I'm reading it. Oh, by the way, that's what I want to quickly say. I finished season 1 of an anime. What is it called? I Am Atomic. What is it called? Eminence and Shadows. Got it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I finished season 1 of Eminence and Shadows. Pretty good. I do like the whole. Normally, it's hard to get me on like a tagline. You know what I mean? But hot damn, the I Am Atomic line hits almost all the time. And it is also like a fun. Not fun. Sorry. It's like a pretty cool challenge. It's almost like if you were to write a story where the main character was like ungodly OP right at the hop, but simultaneously he's like a freak. He's like an absolute freak, to where you kind of have to make it kind of strange and weird in order for it to make some sense. So there has to be a limitation. There has to be some point of interest in the story. Okay, this. We may not win because I did not know this was what this was. Oh, can I grab that thing? Leave. Funny, because I thought I got most of those fucking things. Jesus. I think that's what I put to capture them. Maybe it was this. I don't know if that was right. Yeah, I think question marks were the good things, and then the other things were the other thing. Yeah, I think that's right. I did mark them. Also, what's good, Jeannie? Jeannie says, hello, bro, from, what the heck is it, Tahiti? Tahiti, what's good, what's good, Tahiti? Grin, no game, no, Grin, no, you game, then let it die, you finished. I can't finish the game. I mean, I finished the game from what I want to finish. Like, they added some stuff afterwards, which is infinite, which I thought, but yes. I'd say maybe the 8th chapter. Okay, that's where I was probably at. It's fairly early when he starts getting ogres and trolls, and gets left out the bat. Okay. I found when I was reading that one, I felt like, yeah, man. It's funny, you know. I'm like, again, I can't describe to you guys how much like my past self would have been shocked. Like, absolutely floored. I never thought I was the kind of person to read manga at all. And I've seen people do the same thing where they're like a lifelong anime fan, and then they like start reading manga, and then they don't really go back to anime. And I was like, why? It just making no sense. Why would you want to read all the time? It just making sense. But now I've kind of become that, which is unfortunate.
Said, side note, I won the 50-50 and got Shorekeeper. Now the grind for Cam.
Oh, you did it! Nice! Let's go, Lone. That's awesome. Hopefully you enjoy Shorekeeper, man. She's a blast. I will say, I do think her critical rate is not as insane. I thought I built her out. I thought she's pretty good. Maybe you guys can look. Maybe you guys can look. I got her on this artifact set. I got her on this one, which is basically the healing artifact set, because I think that's probably the one that's for the best for her. I also got her on this new artifact guy who basically gives you a shit ton of like regen, I think, energy regen, which also buffs her, and also I think it buffs my entire team's attack, which is not bad. But her stats are as follows. But let me go over here to look at the whole stats. There we go. But yeah, you mainly are trying to get energy recharge, which I have 232, which is probably not great, but I don't think it's bad. But yeah. Tahiti's in Ocean Pacific, the small... I've heard about it for sure before. I just can't place it necessarily, Genie. Bolty says, like making having the MC pair with a girl that has the green trait and basically tags along with him. Bolty, so they will... Bolty says, but they will also be a duo, and the reason for traveling together is because I think they share similar taste in terms of gluttony and greed being similar. Interesting. I think it's like telling a story from their villain's perspective, perhaps, or just people with, like, their own issue, essentially. Ooh, my throat. Both want something. Interesting. Oh, I see. One like gluttony and the other one's greed. So they both kind of like two sides of the same coin. We gotta get Tahiti Arthur. I have a plan. Is it like a Red Dead 2 reference? I need to drink some water. Starting to block up my throat. Jeannie says, "Grin are the best, bro." Thanks, Jeannie. I don't think I'm that great, but thank you. Appreciate that. I'm sorry I'm sick. I wish I would be a better, be able to hold myself better when meeting you. Oh.
Lone Syndicate said, I remember when I would suggest manga to Grin and he would say something like, I don't have time, or why would I read now? He reads more than he watches anime, and I just smile when I think of it.
It's true. I'm lying, bitch. I can't believe it. So that's what I was going to say. So, yeah. So to me, it's funny because I'm like, yeah, okay. I went from like, how can people read watch dub or sub instead of dubbed? It just makes no sense. You're reading all the time. It's weird. Can't enjoy the anime. I still think it's crazy. And then I thought, okay, people who are like go to manga, it's strange because you have it just like perfectly cascaded, animated in front of you. There's always so many cool animes. Why would you read the manga? And then I started reading the manga. And then my second thought is basically like, but novels, like without any images, surely not. And then because I started doing the writing thing, I told you guys, I appreciated Kat gave me some cool insight on some like books that were really well written. And then I started thinking back of like what were the manga or manhwa that I most liked. And I tried it once. I was like, oh, this manga that I read surely has to be based on a book, because it just did such a good job about, like, the first opening chapter was, like, beautifully visually, the visuals were beautiful, and to me, I couldn't imagine without, like, the guidance of the author, like, painting a clear picture in the mind of the people who are gonna, like, bring that to light within drawings. I couldn't imagine that would be bad, so I went and tested my theory, and I went and looked at the novel of this show, which is called The Infinity Mage. There's a novel about it. It's a very good manga. But I went and looked at it, and it has pretty good fucking writing. So then I was like, oh, let me go and find, like, all of my favorite manhwa and look at the, like, the writing style of all of them. Funnily enough, a lot of them are actually, like, Japanese or Korean novelists, so they have a similar pattern to them, which is funny. And I got some Western ones too, which also, oh, this is the difference. Anyways, I started reading SS rank Suicide Hunter, that one, or Returner, or whatever it's called. It is, like, really, like, shockingly well written. And I don't know, I should always define when I say by well written. Like, there's a moment at the beginning of the book where it describes how, like, the main character is being burned alive, and how he's terrified that his burning flesh will smell like cooked roast, essentially, or something like that. And he's like, thank God my senses were, like, killed before I could, like, smell my burning flesh, and how like weird it would smell as if it was burning pork. I'm doing a poor job, but within, like, a few sentences he's able to, like, layer that in, and you're like, oh yeah, that'd be terrible. Like, it's just morbid enough to be like, what the fuck is going on with this main character? Why is he so insane? And then they do a fun job by, like, slowly layering in, like, again, because in the manhwa it's pretty, like, 0 to 100, where the main dude in Suicide Hunter quickly dies, quickly attains a power, and then just starts offing himself to, like, go kill the world's strongest S rank hunter, because the only way he can do it is by time traveling, and the only way he can time travel is whenever he dies, he goes back 24 hours. So then he just starts, like, shaking the shit out of himself, jumping back, and dies like 2,000 times. It's insane. But I was reading that, and in the story, it does, like, they spend a lot of time about him being like, I spent the whole day trying to, like, think of anything that could get me to kill. Like, I'm the weakest possible person on the planet. I'm an F rank, like, hunter, and the guy is, like, level number 1 on the whole world. So he's like, I'm fucked. Like, he keeps trying to think of, like, maybe I could film him doing this horrible thing. No, I can't do it. I don't have enough confidence. I could go try to talk to the guilds. I have no, like, authority. What the fuck? And then his only thing he can come to, which is like, I'll see you in hell, bitch. As he, like, stabs he stabs his throat like 200,000 times. Insane. But it does such a good job of, like, building on it. You're like, damn, you know. I prefer manhwa, says Bolty. I mean, Bolty, I don't disagree, but again, I think it's tough, because I think if you start it just like my entry point into manga wasn't manga, it was people reading manga to me, and I started getting annoyed because these fuckers didn't make a part 2 until, like, it got a bazillion views. So then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna pick up where I left off, and I thought, hey, this ain't that bad actually. And then the same thing with the novel thing, where, like, I'm like, I could never do that, until I was like, I'm just gonna try to gauge what, like, is good writing and try to get a sense for that, and then bang, I'm like, okay, I'm maybe tempted to read one of these novels. You know what I mean? Remind me, I haven't finished the Black Store short. You gotta raid. You got to. It's like, if you haven't gotten Shorekeeper, that'll make a getter. Unless you watch our stream of it. In that case, never mind. You get the gist. But the speech of the villain instead of the hero. Okay. And I wrote something like, true strength is the ability to change fate. Okay. But it's in the speech of a villain instead of a hero. Interesting. Okay. Is it kind of like an Overlord sense, where, like, the dude is not necessarily the hero, but he is not without, like, purpose? It's like kind of the idea of, like, the classical hero makes for the worst leader possible because he's just dumb, naive, and silly. Whereas, like, in a lot of ways, what is it, lawful evil might in some cases be better than, like, good, just, like, pure good. You know what I mean? At least lawful evil can create a system that, like, you know, bad people are punished and good people are not good people, but rewards some sort of thing that the system likes, I guess. Lone says, I remember when he suggested the whole thing with manga. Nog says, oh, GRINN, if you want a book or a manga, or manga, check out Battle Royale. It's really fucked up. I'm not sure, man. I'm always soft brain. Soft brain can't take too much agony, especially in the form of stories. Let me see. I feel like if I just type in Battle Royale, is it a manga? Probably. Battle. Didn't spell that right at all. Royale manga. I don't want it. I don't want this. I don't want this at all. Looks like a weird baby faces in there. It looks scary. Eee. This woman's lip is missing, and you just see her smile. I'm not into this. Gnawing, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me, buddy? Ooh, might want to avoid it then. It's really yes, I'm not good about that. I can handle some stuff, but I don't seek it out. I still remember this day, the moment when I watched Dead Man Wonderland, and hot damn, I think there is not a single story that goes more hardcore at the beginning than anything like that. Like, it goes from totally happy-go-lucky silly kids laughing at shit to a whole fucking classroom being nuked. And you're like, Jesus. But unless it's like slipped in there, like I'm like, oh, we're just gonna watch a cool like shonen anime, and then say, oh my god. I will say though, I still agree with most people who watch Dead Man Wonderland anime. Can't breathe. Which said that the main voice actor was hellish just to listen to. Sounded like the weaseliest weasel talking for 20 minutes. Anyways, what are we doing? We're doing this. Or we're doing the next version of that, unless I can't find it. Challenge. Do we have any more? Yes, we do. Loot on and Primo Gems and extra random shit. We also may just talk for like the end, because this is nice. This is just a nice. Look at that lighting. I might need to blow my nose. Also, it has a live action adaptation. Dude, live action anime is also very cursed, though. I feel like I've never been able to watch one of those in jest and not been like people always gave like Death Note shit, like Netflix's Death Note. But then I see that there was like a real like live action equivalent, and I was just like, this looks kind of worse, like much worse. At least like I don't know. I kind of prefer like a spin on it, I guess. I don't know. But that's definitely where I lose. I think I'm definitely alone in that. I think most people are like, I hate it. I do agree with the idea of like, just make something different, like, or just do what you want to do. Just don't call it Death Note. I do agree with that consensus quite a bit. Where it's like, yeah, you're just trying to get the brand value, even though it has none of the. It does have some. I need something to read. I prefer manga. That too. Nog says, oof. Might want to avoid it. That's really twisted. There's reasons for it, but it's still fucked up, but still good. Yes. More GRINN wisdom, perhaps. What you mean? I don't think there's any GRINN. Okay, I'm gonna blow my nose, guys, and then we're gonna have one final hurrah. All right. Oh. Why is it only one nostril?
The moment at hand, this very moment, is the best of our lives.
There's not much. No. I hate being sick. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, also, Zenato says, just wanted to tell you, thank you for letting I walk through. It helped a lot. Thank you so much for giving me a single second of your day. Thank you. Appreciate it. We don't play a lot of Let Die anymore, so forgive me. I love you so much, and goodbye. Yes. There's a reason for it being fucked up. Kat says, you have us a great thought in regard and life and wisdom. I don't know about that. I appreciate it. Very sweet. I appreciate the sentiment. I'm not very. I know nothing about nothing, but appreciate people who are very sweet and let me ramble. Because again, whenever you guys ask me questions like that, I'm really only talking to myself in a weird way because I'm trying to like bring myself into some sort of logic. Because again, whenever somebody again, it's a problem to some extent where Bolty would like tell me about a story, and it's such a bad habit of mine where like I know what it means to be a good listener and just to kind of intake and ask good questions to make people excited to like tell you more. But I also have such a bad nature of like I immediately put myself in the position of whomever is telling me something. So like, oh, I'm going through this thing. I immediately put myself as if I'm going through it, and I try to rationalize how I would overcome it or deal with it or find a way out of it, or so on and so forth. So yeah, I also popped my ears when I blew my nose. Jesus, I can't hear much. Dang, Bolty. Oh, you sick too, Bolty? No, we're dropping like flies. I hope you feel better soon, Bolty. I don't want anyone to go through this. Although, man, I would take out of all the Devil's Gambit. I shouldn't say shit. I don't want to say it, but I really didn't like sleeping 2 hours and then. Do you know how long the night is? Do you know how long 12 hours in your bed or 8 hours is to be in pain and to like be looking at a dark ceiling while you're just fucking sitting there getting cooked? It's like, it's just like, it's weirdly torture-ish. Like, it makes your brain think like, oh, fuck this. Why can't I just sleep? You know, Anyways, I was going to ask you guys one final question if you'd humor me. Feel free to not listen, tune me out, all that stuff. But, possibly, how do I phrase this properly? Hypothetically speaking, entirely hypothetically speaking, say you're writing a story, okay? Say you get to the point where a dude basically goes through the whole gambit, picks his skill tree by a benevolent god while he's shitting on him, basically. And then he goes and spends a long time, which we later reveal through the god's perspective, that it took him 30 days as he sat there.
Catman 11234 said, I've had some crazy-ass fever dreams while being sick. I've woken up inside a dream 3 times in a row one night.
Damn! Yeah, I've heard people say that, where you can, like, you just pick up where you left off. Wild shit. Crazy to me. That's weird. That's only ever happened, I think, twice. Anyways, dude spends a long-ass time picking whatever his, like, soul-bound companion is. So, he then goes to his final trial. So he has his skill tree, then he has his soul-bound companion, and then he has his traits. That's his last thing. He goes into a spiraling circle of cards, reaches forth and grabs forth a card, only for it to be the dreaded bronze. Shitty platinum card. I think it's like elven skin. Basically gives him some resistance. Not entirely not entirely useful, but just it's not great. He gets another one, and it's called sustenance, which basically makes it so that he can go longer without eating and remains nutritionally content for longer. It's not very great. But up until this point, you clarify over a great many words that the god is basically intrigued by his actions. The fact that he has taken he's basically chosen not the better option in his mind, which is the S rank skill tree, and also he has spent like an absurd amount of time looking through all of the possible soulbound companion statues, obsidian statues, all that. So he kind of starts to favor him to some extent. The god kind of talks about how he always hates how people basically would pick the easiest one, like the one that looks the best, or the one that seems like pseudo strong without looking in the details of what their actual personality traits would be. Anyways, so the god basically offers him this trait. He's like, I'll take both of these 2 traits, which will leave you only with 2, because you're able to take. I don't want to go into it, but anyway, you'll be left with your last 2. But I'll take both of these, and instead I'll let you pick from our discarded souls, essentially, like the discarded souls, and then you basically go into a long-winded tangent about how you're not the first one that has been given a second chance, yada yada yada. This is where all of like the souls that basically could never get picked up. Maybe it's because they just didn't have the right sequence, even though the god tried to shift some things around to make their stats better, make them worse. No dice. So he throws them into like the background of the universe. Anyways, so one of the things that the main character first acknowledges is that basically a lot of them have like how did I word it in the story? I think I worded it as like extreme. extreme features. I think that's how I word it. Extreme features. Described as like elven ears. How did I fucking write? I wrote like a pretentious asshole. Elven ears that rised as high as a king's crown or something stupid, some fucking dumb nonsense. Anyways, and then I talked about how there's like also like an Oni girl that is standing beside a club that's 3 times her size. Yeah. So the point that I was trying to get at was basically that you have like a bunch of characters that anyone who's a human, who's probably normal, will probably be like, this is too much out of my depth, this is weird, this is too much, and all that stuff. So, the question I'm asking you guys is, with all that build-up, I have had a couple sentences where I've kind of flaked in, like that all of, like, so there's 2 things. One, all the statues have to be have some sort of, like, very obvious physical thing. Like, whether it's, like, giant-ass elf ears, or whether it's, like, an Oni girl with a fucking horn coming out of her face or some shit. Something that would scare off some people who are not perverts, like many of the people in chat, probably. As well as one of the things he also notices is because this is like the thrown away souls of all of this weird like, I don't know what the reincarnation thing. A lot of the porcelain statues are like crumbling and breaking, kind of signaling that like some of these people are like on their last leg. You're the only one that can kind of pull them out. So the question I'm asking to you guys with all that build-up is, what the fuck should they look like? This is what I'm struggling with, because like we have the first person who I don't want to change, which is like the badass forge maiden who's like giga jacked, not giga jacked, but just jacked, like womanly jacked. I'll say, not like masculine woman jacked. It's different, womanly jacked. I like that. Keep that fine. I like the idea of like the 2 most important things, and I love when you guys said that. When you guys said that when we were talking about this, when I was first telling you guys about the story, that what was it? I was like, what are the 2 most? I said, what is the most important thing when you get to endgame in any RPG, MMO, whatever. And someone in the comments basically was like, money. And I thought, damn, that's a really good answer. But then I said gear. And I think people were like, yeah, probably gear beats money, but gear kind of gets you money, all that stuff. But money and gear were the first 2 things. So to me, I thought, okay. Also, that's something that I don't think has been seen too often. Like, I think so many people, if they were like given this story prompt, would be, it's half of the fun of this whole like premise about me like setting up this weird like each trial is I like the idea of the reader being like, oh well, if I was in that position I would choose this. I like that idea. I also like the idea of subverting that of your reader's expectations about like the main character keeps choosing strange answers but makes logical sense of them, I guess, you know. So I'm trying to think of what the hell she should look like. She's basically gonna be like a merchant. That's his like. So his 2 picks are basically kind of stupid, but he also, it's not completely stupid because he picked a very like DPS oriented class. So I think that kind of makes sense. But I want to ask the chat, what do you think would be a cool, fun character that would be that way? It's not like it's supposed to be like a battle class. A part of me, I don't know why, but a part of me wouldn't mind going with like an orc. Because I think it's just like it's a double inverse. Like you wouldn't expect an orc to be like a non-combat class, and you wouldn't expect the orc to also be a merchant of all things, you know. So yeah, granny type. Now, see, the thing is, Nog, I think most people. I feel like most people would just like there's 2 answers. Like if we do, sorry, Nong says old granny type. Maybe I just think most people like there's an answer where like if you were reading something, I think people would be like, that satisfies me as a reader, but also makes me excitable for the future. And I don't know. I feel like if it was a granny, it would be like, okay, I'm gonna throw away this character. I'm gonna put her in the back of my head. If she comes up every now and again, I'll be like, cool, Granny's here, all that. But I don't want to see it any more than like her once every 20 chapters. You know what I mean? And I don't want that necessarily. I'm thinking maybe you could go like Goblin. Goblin seems too much though. You know? Fairies, like the contenders in my head that I thought would be like kind of fun is like a Tinkerbell type. That could be fun. Like a fairy type thing. Fairy merchant with a little fucking like London hat, etc. A little London newspaper hat boy kind of hat. That'd be kind of neat. Also, no one would take her seriously because she's a little fucking fairy thing. The orc one to me seems fun, but it's almost like too illogical. You know? like, I feel like most people who were like, okay, we could have like an old granny, but let's also make her like hot or something. Let's make her like a 500-year-old vampire or some shit. Yeah. Oh, my throat. And a part of me wouldn't, it's tough. A part of me wanted to have, I don't know if I want this or not. This is what I mean. I'm stuck at this crossroads between, like, I should have answers to this, but it's kind of a difficult question because I know how it's going to permeate in the future. But, like, I really enjoy the yandere archetype. I don't feel like many people do it right. And I would love to have a main character that, like, knows how to manage the psychotic nature of this weird archetype of yandere. But I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen people do it yet. But I'm also like, could that get in the way of all the story things? I do plan for the main character to meet the shield Forge Maiden pretty fast, but I do plan for her to meet the second one way later down the line. Have you seen Shangri-La Frontier? I think I have. Yeah. There is a bunny smith girl. Ooh, okay. Literally bunny, not a humanoid. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I think I've seen something like that, yeah. And I really like the design of her. Oh, no, you're talking about, the Shangri-La one. No, I haven't. The one where, like, he's pairing with a helmet? No. Well, like a knife helmet? I haven't seen that one, but my brother's told me about it. The old granny orc, currently in combat, she pulls out a disc from her back pocket and smashes whoever is in front. Ooh, that sounds fun. That sounds really fun. A part of me wonders, though, because... Oh, how do I phrase it? I was reading that, and it popped into my head. Yeah, it's tough, because to me... okay, it's hard to describe this, because it's kind of like I have to describe to you, like, layers of my weird story. But, like, there's certain archetypes I really wanted to play with in this story. One of them is, like, I really wanted a main character who is like kind of the thing that I feel like some stories just don't have, which I really like the idea of a main character who is like, who decides who he's like interested in, like who his main heroine person is, and like just locked in, like basically like the only light in his life, the only spark in the sky, the only person he's like clearly drawn to and attracted to, and him, all that stuff, is just one person. And even though there might be people who he might do stuff for and help out, it's not leading to this harem ending. Like I would love the idea of like reforming how like hopelessly in love he is with this one person, irrespective of how many people he might inadvertently help by trying to grow stronger and stuff like that. Kind of like an inverse to the harem archetype. But the only way I can do that is if I surround him with people who would, how do I phrase it? Like look at him in that same way. So like it wouldn't matter if there's no one who is interested in him. But yeah, I think because to me it's like you can't get mad at an ass beating that's awaiting you. So like you can't be too invested in these other characters because you know the main character's only got one eye on one person ever. And in order to play with that, I almost need, at least I think, I need people who are people who see him in that light, I guess. And it's so that's why to me, like, I'm thinking of like the granny orc. It could work, but I was partly liking the idea of the main character being like hopelessly in love with this Forge Maiden person, and how like giving him instances where he basically continues to reaffirm like his interest in this one person and not everybody, so to me that's why I was kind of thinking maybe the second person could also be someone who he could gain their favor for and like make them care for him, or not make him care for him, but do actions that would convince them to look fondly upon him, I guess. I mainly just want to know what they might look like, because again, my issue is that when I was writing the sentence, I really enjoyed like the kind of words I used to paint the picture as the main character is like walking through this hall and sees a bunch of like degraded, broken down statues that are on their last leg, and seeing how sad it is that some of these statues that represent people, given they have a slight proclivity, like bigger, longer ears for elves and stuff. And the reason why I mentioned that is because Red always told me how he prefers elves with really long, big ears. So I thought, that's the perfect thing to add there. And same thing with like a girl with a horn popping out of her head. Like things that for normal people would probably be abrasive. For people who like anime and manga, probably like, awesome, win, a double victory. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out, like, I already painted the picture of, like, these abnormalities as far as these people look like. I'm trying to think of what would be something that would satisfy that. And the orc example works. The orc granny works too. I just don't know. I don't know if I want this orc granny macking on the main character. I'm not sure that's it. You know what I mean? I like the idea of the fairy because it kind of is already like impossible. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't. There ain't nothing happening probably with that. You know what I mean? Tinkerbell be damned. I don't know if this is a destined fate. You know? Also, we can have fun with like a little homage to Tinkerbell. That wouldn't be bad. Also, I don't think that's a thing often. I don't think there's like a fairy companion often in the thing. Yeah. Bodhi says, like your companion doesn't have to be human. No. So that's what I'm thinking. I think, what do you call it? The Forge Maiden is already humanoid. Like she's a human. So I don't feel, I want to like, I've led to say like that again. It kind of has to be synonymous. Where like God takes him to like a back alley of the world to basically be like, here's all the discarded, statues or whatever souls that people never picked. It's sad, and there has to be a reason for why they probably weren't picked. And one of those, to me at least, is the external oddity that it might be. Kat says, if you want to invest. If you want to inverse expectations with combat build is merchant, I'd say something who's sort of runt of the litter, maybe a giant that's small with but ooh, that's fun. I really like that. That's interesting. Okay. With the runt of the litter, maybe some sort of mouse person that's usually sneaky thief in fantasies. So. Maybe an honest rat or mountain. I think I've seen something like that a little bit. I think I've seen like the mouse person archetype, and it doesn't quite feel like enough. I can't describe it. It doesn't quite feel like it's the right nail on the head yet, but I like the idea. Like a head's in the right space, but I don't know if that's the hitting the nail on the mark, you know? But it said, depending on what the MC would actually need to be fond of, I mean, what he liked. Well, no, so that's the thing that I'm trying to like. It's difficult, but I'm trying to paint the picture that the main character, I kind of want him to be not, again, he turned down being the hero. I don't want him to be, I want to kind of be like subtle in the way that I have a moment that I would like to have, where the main character is like given the option between like, what is it called? Like sparing somebody who's like a ruthless murderer or does something truly heinous. And then the main character pretty like, without feeling killing the person, like without question, and then he's easily able to rationalize it because it's like, yeah, like this person's gonna go out and keep killing people, and it's gonna be terrible, and I know this is bad. Like I know when I do this, it's gonna be bad, like it's bad for my soul, etc. But it's either that or this person comes out and does more harm. So it's either like So I kind of wanted that moment, a moment where it's almost like a mic drop about like, I never really implied that the main character was like not. Like a perfectly virtuous hero, but I do want to do a lot of things where, it's funny because one of my favorite like manga ever, or sorry, anime, more like manga, is the realist hero, which I like the idea of like the main character being that, like a realist, a person who's like, what is the given I accept all of the rules of the world and the potential like frailty of those said rules. What is the most amount of good that I can do while still working within the system so that the most amount of good that can be done with the highest success rate possible, whilst also being as quickly as done as possible. I like the idea of like a main character who's a realist about the reality of the world and how like if you don't, people will just, especially in a world without like jails or law, which this one probably won't have, at least not that much. Yeah, people could just keep doing harm. Nog says, so is the second attractive? Well, so that's the thing that I'm having fun with messing with, is basically it's basically the main character goes up and is scanning through all of these statues. So like the idea is he goes up and like looks at it's an obsidian black statue, so you can kind of see like general features, but it ultimately doesn't matter because like say if you make out like a slash on the cheek or something like a scar. It all doesn't matter because you don't know if you're going to meet them at the point in which they have that distinguishing characteristic. You could meet them like, they could have gotten that scar like a year ago before the statue was taken, or the statue was imprinted. So I'm having fun with that, to where like you can make out like kind of like objective things. Like you could see that, the Forge Maiden had her tail, had her ponytail, essentially. You can make out stuff like that, but you can't make out like excruciating details. So that's what I'm having fun with. So you can't really tell if someone's attractive. Of course, I wanted to make the Shield Maiden his main protagonist because it sounds really complicated, but I always like the idea of Hephaestus. And if I'm not mistaken, is it Hephaestus or is it somebody else? I might be getting my wires crossed a little bit, but there's a god that's like the god of blacksmithing, and I think it's the Greek, not the other ones. But I think it's like it's notorious for, or I think it's a dude actually, is notorious for being like a hopeless romantic, like having a love interest of some kind, I think. But that's kind of what I wanted to play off of, essentially. Because she has like an S-rank loyalty, which I don't want to go into too many things. It's just going to be, I have to explain all this so weird shit, and I think I have too much. I don't want to bog you guys down to trying to manage 7 different weird variables. I just wanted to I wanted to ask you guys what would be that? A person who's a merchant, destined to be a merchant, a badass merchant, and what could they look like that would be a satisfying conclusion? The granny one would work so well if I didn't have the expectation to like have the main character have some sort of positive effect on them, you know? Although I don't know if I want to do that in this story. Again, I have the 2 stories I constantly am going back and forth in my head, and I'm often like, if I don't do it on this one, I'll just do it on that one. You know, the idea of like a person being hopelessly in love with one character, because I do think it'd be cute doing almost like a rebuttal to the harem archetype, which I love. But I watched this one show this manga that was really good, but it had a thing where the main character was just hellbent on like the one elf girl not elf girl, but the one person who was beside him. And even though we had other suitors come up to him, it was like always very clear that like you're his friend. He likes you, he supports you, but like if you're ever in competition with her, you're getting burned alive. Like it's not even a question. Like there's just this hopeless love and hopeless romantic drive towards this one person, which I think would be good to do, especially in like a world of a thing. Because I think the harem thing gets weird and like it makes it so that the main character's like egging on all these people, and it'd be very cool to be like. Not very cool, but it's very interesting to be like, nope, absolutely not. Like if you're getting your hopes up, you're an idiot, because you can clearly tell how obsessed this main character is about the one person he likes. I don't know if I'm doing it this one or that one.
How about a Lamia as your merchant?
That's not bad. Snake waifu, huh? Definitely interesting. Definitely not done that much either. So, second attractive, depending on what you want to do with the character exactly. Granny maybe too much. So at least like a 7 then. Yeah, no granny then. To me, I don't know. Again, depends on what you're attracted to. Which again, I think I have the main character saying some funny things. We're like, yeah. Never mind. So like, basically he points out that he's like, damn, he's talking about all of her stats, because again, that's kind of the thing I wanted to be clear. Like, I'm trying to play with that idea of like the main character not wanting to do the right thing, like the kind thing, but that it's not like the most important thing to him. Like he's not an idiot. I want him to be kind of like, I'm choosing the blacksmith because it's gonna be like a fucking gold mine whenever it like bears fruit. Same thing for the merchant.
Lone Syndicate said then you can give her the personality of a con artist, put the snake metaphor into a literal sense.
Oh, I don't like that though. I guess to me, again, the thing I want to mess with is, yeah, I feel better about inverses a little bit. So like to me, like I'm not a big fan until like leaning into things. So like Snake, who's also a con artist asshole, that to me is less fun. I'd much rather take like a pretty fairy who's all about like the woods and the sweetness of the woods and protecting the forest, and making her like a ruthless entrepreneur that wants to build like a factory and make money. Like I think that's fun. That's much more like, okay, I can get behind this. That's kind of what I want. Again, the main thing that I have is that again, the backstory of our weird main protagonist is that he's like a fireworker's apprentice. who basically failed to like get off the ground because a lot of it was tied in bureaucracy of like, you know, getting permission from the city to like launch fireworks, being the main distributor of said fireworks, having to take liability for said fireworks, all these things, to where like bogged him down so much that he couldn't even manage it. So he's trying to find someone who is that out, and to have this funny inverse of that could be fun, of like a fairy who's always supposed to be like, the forest is so sweet and nice and wholesome, and then for it to be like, hell nah. Also, it kind of being, that sucks. I'm always kind of like, even though I say that, like how I like the idea of like having a main protagonist that's like hard locked into one person who he's interested in, I feel like it doesn't fit with this story really well. Because the main character I'm kind of building to be pretty like ruthless as far as like build synergy be. Like that's his main thing, is he's constantly trying to optimize for his, he's not an evil person. I don't want that to be the case, but he's kind of like a realist who's pretty honest about the reality of like having to hurt people or kill someone or doing all these kind of things. I like that idea. It doesn't really fit the idea that he's locked in completely. I think it fits better with the other one, that other story I have. Forge main waifu, but we don't know how she looks like yet. A second companion, first partner, so to speak. Yeah, so that's the first one he chooses, and then there's like the second like rollout, which is like these Forgotten Souls. But yeah, the thing I want to get at is the main character. So man, I don't want to tell you all this, but the backstory that she has is he sees that she has this Forge maid. He sees that she has after like scanning through all of these potential options he does. Again, I kind of hint that he spent like 3 months, or no, sorry, he spends like 30 days without knowing, just like scanning through all these things, because you don't get tired, you don't get dehydrated or anything when you're in this realm, this weird like death state realm. Anyways, he comes upon her and he basically sees that she's one of the few people who has an S rank in her stats, specifically in her personality traits, and it dictates that anything that is above an A+ rating has a special attribute determined by the person. So for her, he first notices that she has an interesting sounding skill tree, which is Hephaestus's Embers. And you think that's weird because he's never seen like a callback to a figure in history or whatever that hasn't been rewarded in some capacity. But anyways, he looks at her skill tree and he sees that her forge stuff is not very crazy. It's like more proficiency. She gets a little bit less tired when she's on the forge. Nothing crazy. But he sees the Hephaestus Embers and he thinks that's weird. Anyways, he goes and looks at her personality traits and he sees that she is actually one of the few that he could ever find that has an S rank in something. But with it getting so high to S rank, she has basically a positive and a negative. So she basically has something that's, her proficiency is, how did I phrase it? I think I may need to like neuter what it is, because I might be misremembering like mythoses of gods. But it basically writes, just as the god Hephaestus was hopelessly in love and also hopelessly betrayed, this companion will scale off of the love and loyalty she feels for whoever is her soul-bound companion. It's not the same thing as like the soul, like the tethered, whatever it is. It's like a different person. It's whomever the hell she basically imprints on. And the main character, being an idiot, is like, oh, what do you call it? What is the likelihood that I'll meet this person? And also, I'll just have to play Cupid. Like I'll just be able, like, whoever she ends up falling in love with, I'll just basically break his legs if he's not nice to her, and make sure she's happy, and then I'll be able to get materials from her, and it'll be great. And he basically starts to piece it together of like, oh, she'll basically unlock more of her skill tree. Her skill tree will become fully formed if you're able to create a connection essentially with her. I'm having it built off right now where the main character is like not even thinking that he is potentially a love interest, but that kind of being the thing. And for the main character to basically meet them really early on, and then for them to be separated. I have more weird shit that I could go into. It's not quite as easy as just your soul-bound companion thing. It's kind of like she has a recoil effect too. So there's a negative to this as well, which is the longer what is it called? It's basically called it's like she has like I think it's C rank in this one category, or F rank in this one category. So she has S rank in loyalty, but she has I think it's like F rank in loneliness, which is basically, I think it's given at Hephaestus or one of those gods, which is basically like notoriously alone. And I kind of wanted to play off of that too. I might be getting all of my wires crossed about certain gods I've heard about throughout the years. So I might just need to be like, whatever. Like, not Hephaestus, but something else. But it was a forge god. I don't know. Let me catch when everything's sorry. Could have a suitable be a granny they meet, then they're much younger. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, like he basically meets someone, but the statue is like their older self, but in reality, it's just like whenever the god never specified when he happens to to like take a still of the soul of the person, I guess. How about Limmy the merchant? Then you give her a personality with a con art. Maybe opposite themes for both. Yes, I'll stick with my giant that's shorter with smarter idea as a suggestion. I like that idea. It's not a bad idea. The issue is I think it's not as much fun. I find it hard to play off of. Like like giants to me don't have like a lot of lore besides big human go burr. You know what I mean? To whereas like fairies, I feel like you could fuck with like the weird. Like that's why I brought up fairies, by the way. Is
said, I am surprised. Normally, we save these kinds talks for our hangout.
Yeah,
streams.
I'm also sick, so I'm also not sure if we're gonna be able to stream tomorrow because I feel my cough kind of getting worse. But I'll play it by ear. Right? So we could have ended the stream in like 10 minutes if I got on here and it was bad. We'll see how tomorrow is. Hopefully, we make incremental improvements. Ooh, swallow hurt. So he is all materialistic. No, I wouldn't say he's materialistic. I'd say to me, again, the whole premise is like a person who's obsessed with builds, who thinks very like, in that same way, about like the same way a person is like almost looking for like the manipulatable leverage point in anything. What can he do? That kind of being the thing that he's being guided through right now. And then having that kind of clash up against, what is kind of going to be the unveiling of the story about like, oh, I'm not in a video game. I'm not in, like, this is real. These people aren't just, like, things that can help me. Oh, shit, I start to care about these people. Fuck. Turns out, being reborn, you love your mother just as much, actually. It's actually, like, it's as annoying. Like, I have to protect them now. All these things. So, like, that's kind of what I want him to have, like, this aha moment, but also that's going to hopefully push him to lean into the one rule of the world, which is the only thing that matters in this world is effort. Ooh, my throat. Kind of find it kind of hard to find something if it all skill-based preferences. Yeah, no, it's not. Again, it's tough because I tell you guys the story, but I feel like it also, like, when you give people two things to play off of, it's limiting. Whereas, like, you're like, oh no, I have the entire world in my head, and the way this character feels, and the way this character reacts, and the way these two characters will react, and like things that are going to happen in the future, and to give context. That's why I only asked what would be something interesting. Like, what would be like a fantasy trope that you have not seen a lot of that that you could show. I like the snake thing. The snake thing you could play off a little bit. I don't mind the snake thing. The giant thing is pretty good. The giant thing I think is good. I just don't know how I could play off of it very much. Yeah. Because the thing to me with like the giant thing, you could play off of the strength. Maybe she could like carry load and that stuff. I'm thinking from the reader's perspective, but I'm thinking that would the reader be that excited to like see the giant do her thing? You know what I mean? Like maybe. I don't know, because we're we have like two, like the Forge Maiden is already kind of supposed to be like an inverse of what like most dainty protagonists are. Like I wanted to have the main heroine of the story not be like a princessy type who's beautiful, or like the Ice Witch who's like a noble who looks gorgeous, who got white hair and she uses a saber so she can remain dainty and still fuck shit up. I want it to be like, no, here's a fucking badass bitch. Okay, she's fucking strong as shit. Not too strong, but strong as hell. And can fuck shit up. That's kind of what I wanted. So then to me, to have a giant would also be like, here's another big fucking ripped as shit person who can fuck shit up. I'm like, Or maybe not, because maybe like the whole point is that she still should be strong. She's a fucking giant. Even if she has like 10% of giant, that should be some... that's why to me, like polarity would be like the fairy thing would be a polarity, but the snake thing could also be a polarity. What else is there? Dark elf. That dark elf is the only other thing I thought of, but I think it has it's easy fruit. Too easy fruit. Also, who the fuck is passing up a dark elf, you idiot? in like the discarded thing. Ah.
Catman 11234 said you could add an elemental effect. The giant that's smaller could be fiery or magma-ish to go with the Forge theme. You could play the giant part as expectation she'd have muscles, but she's skinny.
I like it. I feel like people, if I was reading a story where I was like, oh, you pick the Forge main and then you pick the fiery giantress, I'd be like, this is convenient, you know? But maybe not. Maybe not. Especially also, she could pick up the hammer and hit hard. Ah. I'm so sorry, by the way. I don't mean to be shooting guys your ideas down. I love them. I'm just trying to, again, I try to, whenever I'm hearing something, I always try to react how I would react, and then I have like a god's eye view of like reading a ton of comments when reading manhwa and manga, when I hear people basically in my head be like, that doesn't seem as fun, or I wish it was this way, you know? Maybe they're liars also. Maybe I'm just a lunatic. Skinny but strong. Okay. Nong says, Kitsune Herb merchant / gatherer would also feed into getting materials for bombs and shit. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. The only issue is that I got, for me, the story is set up in my head right now by a series of who the hell cares events. I'll figure it out when I get there. I want him to basically interact with like a childhood friend at the very, like, in his village. Or I think I kind of want him to be in the mountains, actually. But anyways, I want his dad to be like a huntsman or something like that. So that way he has some like isolation, so he can kind of like scale his power up without like referencing it to other people. Anyways, but I have him meeting this like random old man's granddaughter who constantly comes to the village or this location to meet this old kooky granny who teaches him about herbology to some extent, which is, she's basically going to be the gateway for him to understand like what is this world's equivalent of gunpowder, what is this world's equivalent of this. So like this crazy granny in the middle of nowhere is going to kind of give him the ropes, and he's going to help her out. But what I thought was believable is that this crazy kook is actually like the mother of like one of the world's best forge masters ever, and the daughter is a forge his daughter is with him. But the main character never, because he can't tell any physical feature from the statues, and again he sees her as an adult, so he has no idea that this person is her. And I also want to start her off her rejecting making things, like being a forge person, because she just doesn't have a talent for it, only to realize that her talent is unlocked by somebody like basically giving her encouragement and being there for her. And again, I have some weird thing that I put in there, which I thought was fun. Again, the weird story for the Forge main I kind of have, which is I don't see a lot of people tap into like the deep despair of loneliness. So she has an S rank in loyalty, but I gave her an F rank in loneliness, which is like a negative characteristic, and anything below A tier, anything below C tier gets a penalty. So she becomes really like depressed and demotivated without her soulbound companion being near. But Hephaestus is her skill tree basically, and in combination with her loyalty stat allows her to kind of get away. Like both of those two things are kind of holding that at bay, so that she can basically like stave off the pain of loneliness by being absorbed into her work. So that's kind of the way I have her massively amplified, is I kind of want the main character to like swoop in. And I have this fucking moment, dude, that I can see vividly in my head that I can't wait. Because I do have the main character looking more like a berserker Krieg. Not Krieg, but like I have him fucking having you know the earrings that are like cow. They're like the little whoop. Not like a whoop. It's almost like a cow tag. What's the fucking the anime? Please don't tease me, Miss Nononoke, or whatever it is, or something like that. That one. She has those earrings. I have him wearing those earrings, holding like a fuck ton of dynamite, and like blowing shit to smithereens. But anyways, I have this moment where I can vividly see where he like pops in, saves the fucking day, but looks nothing like a hero. Instead looks like a pyromaniac freak who's like smiling as explosions are going off. But to him, it's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. But to her, he's just like a silhouette behind a bunch of fire. So like to him, the fireworks are the most beautiful thing ever. And to her, he is almost in a weird way her firework. Especially the moment in which he saves her, which I think could be cute. And I also like the idea of him looking more like, I guess that's the way I could put it. He looks more like a delinquent than he does like a hero. And I like that idea of it being like this spin. Because again, he's like, in his previous life, he kind of lived as like a good-hearted person. I didn't really do him much. And in his second life, he's trying so hard to like push forward, like effort above everything else, push forward, optimize, do more. And I don't think that would make him look like a little basic ass bitch. You know, I think he'd look like, oh, what? These earrings give me fucking a power up? I don't care if they make me look weird. As long as they give me a fucking power, let's go. And shit like that. I think that could be fun to play off of. I do like the idea of Nogfius gave about her being a gatherer as well. Like, because again, I think that makes. It's interesting because like Kitsune would do it too. It also makes me think the fairy thing could do it as well. The snake thing could also do it well as well. The giant thing, I think there's a lot of like weird those species of things could do it. Kitsune, I guess their scent would help them find stuff. I guess. Yeah. And are they mythical creatures too, Grin? I haven't decided yet. Probably. We're gonna get real weird. So to me, I have the beginning of the story locked in. I'm happy with that, about him getting to choose a bunch of shit. I think a lot of people who are reading could also have fun with it. It's something that they could put themselves in their own shoes and be like, oh, I would choose this. Oh, I bet I would find this. Oh, I would choose this skill tree. Or like, oh, what if you got this 2 talents and that just broke the world? Like, there's fun things you could have there. So I like that part of it. I know what I'm gonna do with the the main heroine and how that's gonna affect it, but I still don't know what to do. I think I kind of understand what to do. I need my character to massively progress, essentially. So I'm kind of thinking, I like the idea of finding like an old spire, like an old, especially if the main character is going to be in the mountaintops. I like the idea of him finding like a tower that's like spiraling constantly upwards, and him like somehow through like cheeky means. Maybe it's the idea of like
Syndicate said, I can already see the memes that would come with that concept. Grin.
What concept? But anyways, I was gonna say maybe it's like he comes upon this like this spiraling tower that's in the middle of the mountains that seemingly no one else can find. No, maybe not no one else can find, but it's just very hard to get to. And while exploring, he finds it. But then he comes across like the entry point of it, and it's got like a crazy golem beside it. Maybe he realizes that he can like throw a grenade or something. I don't know. I kind of wanted it to be like how he ends up winning is by making a weird chance, manipulating something essentially. Like the idea of like, what do you call it? Here's a grenade that's touted as being one of the worst grenades ever, but it does like 0.1% of your health every 10 seconds. So it's basically like, irrespective of how much health you have, it will do that much damage across the board. Awesome. Okay, now what if the main character mathed out exactly how much health this thing had? Actually, maybe that's impossible. But anyways, point is that his solution would basically be like throwing grenades and then like waiting. Throwing grenades and then waiting. And then like calculating his like recovery rate and then knowing, okay, I need to find an excuse, spend 2 days here, slowly like chipping away his health for 24 hours. And like winning that way, like winning a very gross.
The concept of weird accessories giving power-ups, i.e. the earring that can downhill pretty fast.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm not sure if I give him healing. I kind of just like the idea of like creating a character that looks, like a special. Like again, I think a lot of like main protagonists, unfortunately, in like manga or isekai or anything like that, are like almost designed to be as like hollow as possible. So like it's a guy who's brown hair, dark hair. Not many facial features besides give or take 16, maybe fit, but that's it. I want him to specifically look like a specific type of person. You know, I want him to have like an identity, I guess. Ooh. I'm not sure, but I do think there should be a cap on it. I don't think he should be having like Bolty said, like 20 earrings. Yeah, it's too much. Too much. Layer adds an icy theme, a forge user that's always cool. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I was gonna say I thought about that too. What if there was like a forge maiden
Gnawing Fetus said a stink bomb that the golem thinks is tasty. Does 1d4 damage every 6 seconds while in its effect.
Ooh.
Golem has 5,000 health.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, especially we could have fun with that. We're like actually branching that off, because that's one thing Kat asked me a while ago, which I thought was fun. But like, what kind of grenades are you got going on? And I'm like, to be honest, I only have the end, the middle, like the starting grenade that sucks. That's basically just like your shitty grenade that you throw and it creates like a pool of fire on the ground. But it count like if someone steps in it, it counts as damage. So I think like that could be fun as a really shitty first starter one. Kind of like a Molotov, I guess, would also be a great way to put it. But then for like his end tier one to basically be this like this ball that like heat seeks and like circles around enemies, like just leeching them and spewing them full of fire and shit. That's what I want. The kind of classic Moe's build. But I like the idea. Again, it's probably like, well, it's in the between, man. And I'm like, that's a good idea. That's a good idea to have fun with that. And if we're playing off of the idea that there's like this crazy fucking old kook in the middle of the forest, surely she would tell him about how to make some sort of like poison bomb or poison whatever. And he could build off of that. And she could probably encourage him in some ways too, as like, I know what you're doing, you little freak. you little freak. Oh. But again, the reason why I wanted to get into the Spire is because I have two things that I think would be fun to play off of. I always like the idea of like, there's either two options. Option one is where somebody stays in the forest and then just gets swole for like 20 years on very limited information, but they push that information to its breaking point. Not fine, or not bad, but just not quite as like, it clearly has a limitation, unfortunately. Or option two, you find great wisdom somewhere, which massively propels your progression, so long as you're able to actually use said information wisely. And I love the idea of the main character basically like being the only person that can use information in the way that he does, i.e., like this tower having the ability to summon, summon random fucking enemies to fight, and he gets the shit kicked out of him like every day. But like he also finds a rune that heals him, so he gets the shit kicked out of him completely. Spends like an hour in the rune, runs back to his family in the mountains after collecting wood or some shit, and having that kind of be the spin. But the main reason why I wanted to get to the Spire is because I have this idea, which I think works in this one. So the biggest issue that the main protagonist is going to ever see is splash damage. Like, he's going to kill himself, essentially, by like, exploding things. And that's the first lesson he learns when he saves the Forge Girl, is that he, like, I shattered every bone in my hand because I didn't estimate a wolf jumping at me at the right velocity, and the only thing I could do is throw the dynamite like 3 feet from my fingers, and I had to absorb all that recoil, and holy shit, that was a bad idea. So I need to find a way to fix that. So for me, I love the idea of in this Spire, there's like, it's like a Spire that's probably not ideal for him. Probably like a Spire that was a wizard who was also like a knight. But I love the idea, and this is something that exists within, like, I've seen in other stories, but I like the idea that from, like, as early as you possibly can, you start building your, like, armor. So, essentially, you like, people can, like, have, like, people call it, like, mana armor and other things. I like the idea of the main character choosing, like finding a bunch of scrolls, yada, 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 but finds one scroll that specifically says, like, this is one of the most this is the longest, like, what's it called? The longest brew time, whatever you want to call it. Not brew time, what's it called? It's the longest, like, barrier to craft. It's the longest armor to craft. It's not like a shield. It's, like, genuine armor. But what do you call it? And the main character has, like, no desire to play, like, melee. So to him, he's like, the only thing that really matters is how good this armor is. So he gets the best armor possible. But I like the idea of him.
Ignoring Fetus said set up.
Ooh. Setup. What is it? Hit me. Did I miss something? Shit. Or is it gonna come in a minute? But yeah, sorry. What I was saying was, I like the idea of this armor. Being something that, like, most people who are at the time in which they are aware of this, they start building it, and you can go pretty far. But because he's a kid who at this time, like, his body, and he's willing to get the shit kicked out of himself every single day, and like fight tons and tons of melee weapons, even though his class is not melee, just for the sheer, like, fact that it's gonna help build this armor. I love that idea of, like, maybe like 20 chapters in, when hopefully we get to, like, the school arc, because of course I want to do that because I think it's fun. I want to do the school arc eventually. I would love for, like, in the middle of a match or some shit when he's at the very peak of whatever, his armor finally fucking forms after, like, years of getting the shit kicked out of him and him just trying to, like, barely make headway. And then he basically, like, blast resistant. Like, that shit to me is where I'm like, hell yeah, but that's, like, fucking way in the future. I gotta chill out. So like, that is my problem, where I'm like, okay, how did they get there? Is this the right choice? You know, things like that. But that's why I have the interest in the spires, because I would like to have him have that, like, that idea of armor. But I also don't want him to be too overpowered, so I don't want to be like, here's all the magic in the world in this weird mage tower. It's like, no. It'd be cool if it was, like, a tower specifically designed for, like, melee people, and he's kind of like, I'm not melee, so it's kind of not very good for me, but I could find value in here. It's not like I will never face melee people, so I can go through their trials and be okay. And see her scar. Immediately he thinks about her priority. Oh, I like what Rudy is saying here. When I hear heat grin, my mind wanders to someone like Carlich from Boulder's Gate. Oh yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. The demon folk with an internal engine. Oh, so that was the one thing I thought was a fun idea too. Is what happens if there was a forge maiden that didn't forge with, like, heat, but instead with ice? Didn't make any sense, but, like, to me, I just thought it was fucking lit of seeing someone, like, crush, like, hit with an ice forge or some shit, and it's like Helheim's, not Helheim's. Is it Helheim? Yeah, I think Helheim's, like, actually cold. So, like, Helheim's forge or something like that would be sick. An addition that you could make that she tries to hide her identity at first, like shapeshifter-wise. The MC sees her in her demonic body and sees her scar and immediately thinks about how possible is... Yeah, that's the thing I think could be fun, is adding, like, a scar on, like, a distinguishable scar on the face of the shield maiden that he, like, sees on the little girl, and he's like, of course, like, this childhood friend that he has, he's like, of course not. But eventually... For like there'll be a moment when they reconnect and they kind of start talking, and then she sees it as, like, he basically sees that the moment when the scar actually happens, and he's like, fuck, because he knows that she probably is in, like, he knows at this point that he's probably her soulbound companion, and he's like, fuck, because of all the people, because basically how it works is you have to be in close proximity for it to not take a negative effect. So the main character's like, shit, this is like the worst example possible. If you want to be an explorer, get power, go to dungeons and shit, you can't be near a person, so he has to rationalize, he has to take her with her, essentially. And then it's kind of fun because you can have a class that's not just, like, again, it's like a person who's a forge maker, also just makes a fuck ton of awesome weapons that they could use to quickly blitzkrieg enemies, you know? Like, a forge person's actually, like, there's tons of anime that have had fun with that, where it's like, oh, my only skill is that I can make cool weapons. And you're like, oh, it turns out that's all you really need, actually. Lone says, I can see the memes right now. The concept, weird accessories giving power-ups, i.e.
Bolty said, I think demon folk is a must-have if they exist in your story.
I think demon folk is a must-have if they exist in your story. No, yeah, I think you could definitely have some fun with demon folk, stuff like that. The issue to me is I also find that, like, demon folk and stuff is just a wee bit played out now. Maybe it's just the stories I read, but it's always like, the demon king is coming to kill us. Oh my god, the demon folk are receiving prejudice that's not very nice to them. And it's not that it's not real or not, like, valid. It's just, to me, I've seen it so often that to me it's like the least fun thing to tap into, you know? Yeah. Ooh. If I did tap into it, I would want it to be, like, kind of fucking hilarious. Like, I'd want it to be like, you know, like Sauron, like Lord of the Rings, like the disgusting, vile-looking orcs. I would love the main character to be like, hey, bud. Like, I also would love the idea of playing off of that, like, the most hideous, unequivocally evil-looking creature is actually the sweetest. And the main character's like, am I missing something? Like, do you guys eat baby? Like, what's the catch? And there being no catch, and the main character's like, okay, I'll take you in. You know, and then that being the kind of the goofy, weird thing, and then maybe you could have some fun in that, elaborating into being a demon king or something. It could be fun. But yeah, that'd be my spin on it if I had to do anything about it. Wear 20 earrings, no one could stop me. There has to be a limit. There has to be, like, okay, do you get 2 earrings, 5 rings on fingers, no toe rings, you creep, and maybe like a bracelet. 1 bracelet, not 2. 1 bracelet, 1 belt, No other weird jewelry. Maybe a tongue ring for freaks out there, okay? But that's it. I really like the idea that Nog has with the stink bomb. I like the idea how that could play into how that old kooky lady kind of like spurs him on. I think the readers would enjoy that about like this crazy old woman who seems to be, you know, the antithesis of madness. What do you call it? Being kind of being like one of the only people that is like knows what the main character is capable of and wants him to succeed. Whereas his parents, I imagine, he's trying to keep them safe. He doesn't want them to know that he's like out there experiencing like trauma every day in the pursuit to get stronger. Lone says, like these handcuffs give me 2 defense, or these bandages give me like 10 defense. Yeah, I to me, as much as that is, you could have, that's like a whole story. That's a solid ass prompt to be like, I care for nothing but stats. Could be a really funny story. I weirdly get the vibe of that anime, which is like a dude in like a magical girl outfit fucking shit up with a chainsaw. But yeah, I kind of want my character to look more like honestly, it's funny because Bolty just gave me that anime suggestion, which I'll have to ask you the name of that anime again, Bolty. Not anime, manga, sorry. The manga suggestion with the berserker guy. I like that. He looks kind of like a delinquent. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I'm gonna throw up. Sorry, I have like a bubble in my chest. But Nong did say something. There, setup. Right here. Setup. No, your words you were thinking of, but it didn't. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. I was going so fast. I didn't know what I was saying. Was a bit more delayed than I thought. Yeah, sorry. But it says, I think demon folk is a must in this story you have, and it would be also fit in your inverse trope. And she is actually pretty nice. And the MC starts to admire. Yeah, the issue is, though, I think, like, it's funny, man, you say that. I don't know if that's true. Like, I feel like a lot of manga that I've read, or, like, the videos I've seen and everything, I feel like it's almost like a trope at this point that's like, more common than what's uncommon. But, like, the trope that is the main heroine that is, like, a demon, you know? Like, the demon queen who was banished, or the demon girl who was shunned her whole life, but the main character is so sweet and you know, is nice to her. I kind of like the idea of my main character not being, how do I put it? Like, at least I want him to kind of happen upon his actions being good for people. And then having, like, so I want the audience to kind of be like, is he good? Is he not? I'm not sure. Maybe when it comes to his family, sure, but when it comes to other people, maybe not so much. I want them to be kind of have this indifferent, not sure feeling, and then I kind of want that to reflect on the main character in a way and be like, yeah. And like, to me, the antithesis of a good story is whether you can understand a complex character before and be able to determine what they'll do before they even do it. So given the setup, you are able to know exactly what the main character will do, even though you don't know how the author is going to get there. You just know that the main character is in this setup. I know how the main character will react, and that's not exactly impossible to do. Maybe there's moments throughout the story I signal to the reader. The one thing he values above all else is loyalty. That's something that I wanted to have fun with too. But this is where I maybe I'll get too into the weeds. This will be the last thing I mention. I thought of this story that I thought would be a really beautiful moment. And it's funny because I see a lot of stories which I think a lot of people kind of have like it's a little bit exhausting a little bit, but I think this would be a good way to do it. I kind of want the main story to have a moment where the main character meets a friend in some capacity. Maybe it's like his childhood friend that's irrespective of all this like soul-bound companion things. He's going to meet other people. I want him to meet this friend that he has. And I actually want that friend to have like very subtle moments where the friend just has like a different interest. Maybe it's like there's a simple moment when he's a kid where like they're running down the street and they're like, maybe he's going to go help him collect boxes to do like weight training on or something, and then he notices his friend pauses and he looks at like a store with a window in it, and it's a dress. And he runs by, and he notices his friends like looking at that, and he says like, "Come on, let's go." And then they run off, and then we never mention it again. We never mention anything like that. We don't like layer on a lot, but we progress. We progress through the thing, and then we have a moment in the future where maybe the main character maybe they get to school finally, They both succeed and they make it into this new school. Great. Then there's a rumor about this main character or this main character's friend having like being interested in this other dude, essentially. Basically just signaling that, okay, we're not going to like layer it on too hot or deep, but it seems like the main character's childhood best friend, who's a dude, happened to be gay. Okay, we're not going to make that a big plot point. We're just going to say like, okay, that's a thing. And then for there to be a moment where what do you call it? Like maybe people are bullying his friend, and his childhood friend, who's a dude, is looking at the person who they're making fun of him with for liking, hoping that he'll do something, only for the dude who is the person he's attracted to walk off. And then I want there to be this moment where the main character is just like dead quiet, doesn't do anything, pick up hopefully it's like a 2x4, pick it up, throw it, catch it, and then just smoke the person who's basically bullying his friend right in the fucking kneecap, and shatter the fuck out of his leg. And then the thing that I want to get at, because I kind of told you about it, Bulty, where there's like this idea where, at least for me in my weird thing, where like there's a moment where like I feel like everything gets just silent and you just do whatever you know you need to do. And it's not good, it's not scary if anything, but I wanted that to be like moments where the main character has that, where everything just gets numb and whatever has to be done gets done. So I want him to like beat the shit out of this person. And I also want them to have a moment, because the thing that I think like most people miss, especially with like not weird, but like a lot of these anime, I feel like don't tap into what is the most beautiful moment about this. You know, like people talk about the LGBT community, LGBTQ, whatever community, these kinds of things. And to me, the most beautiful thing is that, at least in my opinion, it doesn't matter. So like the one thing I want, while the main character is like beating the shit out of this dude, is for him to be completely calm, and for him to be like, truth be told, I don't get it either. I don't understand it either. I don't understand why he's interested in dudes. I don't understand why he wants to dress up like a girl. I don't understand anything. But you know what I do understand? He's the only person that would have pulled me. He's the only person that would have pulled me from a burning fire. He's the only person that if I've had to fight like an army of people, he'd show up. Like that's the only thing that matters. Like that's the only thing that means anything. And to me, I think that's a beautiful message. Like that's to me the thing. It's like all these things don't fucking mean anything to you because they shouldn't. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't involve you. What does matter, at least in my perception of the world, is the mark of your character. Are you a good person? Are you kind? Do you show up? Are you someone who is kind? So to me, I want to make that moment because I feel like so many people who do tell the story of like that, it's like they always go into some weird arc about like how, oh, this childhood friend who's gay just ravenously loves the main character, and the main character constantly has to break his heart, and it's just this weird tension. It's just like, why do we have to do that? Why does it have to be always this nightmare tension? It kind of perpetuates the same stereotype of like, oh, you have a dude friend that happens to be gay, guess he wants to fuck you. It's like, what? Like, no, dude. You're ugly. You're gross. What are you talking about? Doesn't mean he's attracted to you. It's insane. How dare you put yourself on a pedestal and be like, actually, I'm that attractive that they can't help it. It's insane. So to me, I would also like to create a moment like that I think would be fun. But yeah, again, this is my issue, is I have like way too many things. Too many little things that I think would be fun to get at. Ooh. What is this? Bodhi says, not gonna lie, that's literally plot of Senpai is in...
Lone Syndicate said some people live for that sort of story, though.
No, for sure, they do. Again, people like drama. I don't mean to... What was this, though? I've never seen that thing before. Let me see. Because, yeah, the thing is, Bolty, I'm curious. I'm really interested to see if that's actually, like, a thing that's already been done. Let me see. Senpai... is an oh god damn it, fucking microphone in my way. Otaku. What do you call it? The reason why I don't find it's not nearly as oh no, I've never seen this before actually. Okay, huh? Yeah, to me, what I really want is I really want what do you call it? I really want a main character who says that. Like, to me, again, I find you lose people when the whole point of the story is something that most people, it doesn't affect them, so they don't really care as much. Like the strife or love or conflict of whatever this might be. It's not their fault. It's like me asking you to care about like cars if you have no interest in cars, or it's like, yeah.
Volty said careful there with pictures.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize I didn't switch over to facecam. So I was like, ooh. Oh, my swallow, it hurts. But yeah, what do you call it? To me, that's what I kind of want is like a subtle moment where, like, 'cause I think that's undeniable. I think it's undeniable how like anybody who they see this main character, this childhood friend that's a dude for the main character, who like constantly shows up, constantly is there for him, constantly like helps him set up these weird like exercise training regimens and shit. How they can be like, ew, he's that, yuck, throw him away. You know what I mean? Like, whereas, like, if you see someone constantly show up, constantly be a good person, constantly be there for the fucking guy, and then happens to have, like, these two traits that don't involve you at all, I feel like that's how you can win over the heart of somebody who is over people bringing him into issues that don't affect them. Because it's kind of the antithesis of that is that the main character is like, this doesn't matter. Like, this just doesn't matter. And I don't think that's like, with all these stories that are like, it's specifically about the trials and tribulations of being gay or bisexual or whomever and whatever it might be, which I don't think is wrong, by the way, but it's insane to think that like everyone wants to hear that story when they have no interest in it, you know, like just as you may not have an interest in cars or sports or cooking, you know, it's like you can't expect people to be like, yes, I should just like be interested in this for no reason, even though it's not my lived experience. It doesn't affect me, and when it does affect me, and it is my lived experience, that's where I'll be very curious. You know, I don't think it makes you a bad person per se for saying or feeling. You know, oh, my throat. Let me see. So we can make an old but still look good and have knowledge. You could have her be a mummy. It's funny because that's a little too much. That's too interesting. That's like oh shit, how is that gonna even work? Okay. Some People Lives didn't really like that. Aired last season, and I have seen that one. Pretty sweet story. That's wholesome. Careful with the pictures. Ultimate common. Use harder words. Oh shit! Did I fuck up? Did we get banned? I didn't even know it. I don't think so. Yeah, you guys would hopefully tell me to fucking end stream. Go to Facecam, you stupid fucking thing. I do have it on safe search, so it shouldn't just be showing correct. No, we're fine. No, it was shown. Just a bunch of anime people. I'm about to say usually if there's an anime like that, it usually has like a fandom associated with it. You know what I mean? That's like the dominant thing there. Bodhi says main character is a crossdresser, but the cross childhood friend is exactly the kind of the story. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, again, to me, I think that like my hope for it would be not being the point of the story.
Gnawing Fetus said good on YouTube, still grin.
Woo! Thanks, dog. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll be the end of the stream. My voice is feeling a little bit tingly right now. It's starting to a little bit of pain splinters, but we should be fine. I don't know if tomorrow will happen. Again, play it by ear. Forgive me for putting you guys on the fence like this. I hate it. I wish I gave you guys concrete shit. But forgive me. Also, thank you so much for you guys shooting the shit with me and helping me like think this through. I like it a lot. I appreciate everyone giving me their 2 cents. It's interesting. There's a lot of ways we could go with it about that third character, or that second character. I'm debating whether I want what I want it to be. Yeah, I also need to think about like as a reader, when you don't know what to do, and you're kind of like fine with anything. You're kind of like, okay, what would be the most satisfying for my reader? I guess. I guess that. But ladies and gentlemen, one final painful swallow aside, hopefully I can see you guys again tomorrow if we happen to stream. If not, I will see you Thursday. But thank you so much for your time. Hopefully I can see you in the next stream. Also, I should make sure I copy that goddamn name that's there. SS rank. I should be able to remember SS rank returner, but I don't trust anything. This. Come on, baby. I like the mummy and demon idea. Yes, I know. I like a lot of your ideas. I think having the spliced idea would be fun. A spliced version of it all. I also really do. My favorite one on this, though, I will say, is Nong's talk about like his reply for the poison bomb essentially, and how that could correlate with the weird old lady and kind of give her more value in the story. Anyways, love you guys a bit. Hopefully I can see you again, and goodbye, my friend.